Welcome back to Crash Space. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's May 30th, 2025. We're here for a Friday stream and we got some new, fresh stuff out in Canada for the first time, about 6 weeks late, but hey, who can complain? Hopefully you're doing well, Brennan. How you doing in chat? Good to hear from you. Yeah, the music wasn't on. Apparently I just had it muted because of the last stream we did with the setup, so good catch for sure. So I just snuck that in perfectly. It's a live stream. That'll happen for sure. We got two new champions. This is Black Panther, and this is Silk. I don't think we're gonna have the time to play both of them today. I think we're gonna pick Black Panther because that's what I made the thumbnail to be. I'll be honest, I think Silk's cards look more interesting to me. I think Black Panther is gonna be more fun than I think. However, this is a protection deck, which is an easy success. This is a justice deck, which I haven't played enough of on the channel in a while. And that is actually the reason why I think we're going for Black Panther, because if you just leave me alone, I'll only play protection on the channel, and that's probably not the best. So while I think Silk has some of my favorite protection cards, or some of the protection cards I'm the most excited for, I think we're going to put her aside for now. We will open her and go through the cards in a second to talk about it and do all that sort of stuff. But Shuri's Black Panther is fascinating. And this has some very interesting also justice cards, as much as also Black Panther's kit is really, really cool. This to me seems like a revisiting, and actually a lot of the heroes do feel like that, but basically reimagining heroes that came out in the first wave. In fact, the core set, we had the original Black Panther, and this is the Shuri Black Panther, and it's basically that theme reimagined with, I don't know how much it is, like 7 years of foresight and learnings to make things a bit more interesting. It's not just Black Panther has retaliate and that's it. So you're gonna have to make some better decisions maybe, and maybe it's not all about Wakanda forever, and you actually have cards and your activations matter. As you see Black Panther's text there in a second, it's gonna be a bit more interesting. Oh my god, new cards. Hey, new packs and core packs. Both packs look pretty interesting, and I think Silk seems less immediately busto than Gloria Goldberg and Arkham, which has similar mechanics. Yeah, I honestly, so I don't know all the cards. This has been the awkward thing about being 6 months behind here in the cold north, is that I haven't participated in spoilers too much or other content creators. So I don't know what people's expectations and what their like basically what their thoughts are on these two heroes. Are they super busted good? Are they no fun? So I think what I've seen of the deck building cards, like the aspect cards, those look really good. So far, Silk's kits, from what I've seen, actually doesn't look very good to me. It doesn't seem like it has a strong enough payoff for what it's asking you to do. I think what it wants you to do is interesting. Like you want to collect encounter cards and then make these like sort of set matches to get extra value. I think it looks cool. I don't think it looks good. I'll be honest. Black Panther, as long as you're not playing a stalwart villain, looks like pretty strong. And I do like playing what's it called? Protection with gadgets, whatever they call gadgets. Tech is fun. Hey Donovan, hello friend, happy to see new card day. Also congrats on defeating both Jurassic Park scenarios last week. It was a blast watching. So actually we need to step in there for a little errata. Donovan, thanks for the kind words. Glad you enjoyed it. But I need to mention something here that came up as a response to the last stream. So last Friday we went out of the way to play some interesting dino themed encounters. We played Dino Zola, which was really quite fun and interesting. Retaliate 3 was something we had to play around, and that we could do it. That was great. We were playing Storm, which is fun. And then the last run of the day, we played against Magneto, and we put Magneto in the Savage Land and gave Magneto some access to dinosaurs, which is actually, I think, happens in the comics from my understanding. Now, the problem was we lost. And this is always like a hard thing to navigate, is when you stream for like 2 to 3 hours on a Friday and your last game is a defeat and you only have like 20 minutes left, you don't have time to run it back. And so you have to leave that Friday, that week on that energy, and it just feels really bad. But what happened is that I believe JS is the name, corrected in the comments something that I didn't know. And this is something that I find so wild, so interesting, and so frustrating for someone who's played about 50 Magneto games, and I've learned something new for the first time. Hold on, which button is this? This one? No. You heard a sound, but I didn't see a thing. Why? Give me 1 second. Did I delete the thing that I need? No. Why is this not happening? Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. This should be set up to do this thing. It's not. Hold on. Beans. Okay, I don't know why it's down. I have this thing here. This should work. That's not working. Okay, discard. Oh, now it is. Okay, it's working now. I don't know why it wasn't. Okay, cool. That just worked. So this is from Hall of Heroes. And in Hall of Heroes, people collect like rulings and erratas, and some of these eventually end up, in the FAQ, in the 1.5 to 1.6 we're currently on, the rules reference. And I think it's really important because trying to play this game correctly by digging things up in like arcane rules references is pretty frustrating. And so this is the card that we have to play around. So as soon as turn 1, you have to deal with Asteroid M. This is your main scheme. Actually, let's get the other side of it. So this is the main scheme in Magneto Land. And this has this ability to force responses on all 3 of the Magneto side schemes or main schemes. It says after you place a magnet counter here on the scheme, if there are at least 3 magnet counters here, you start discarding from the top of the counter deck until you reveal a magnetic card. Then you reveal the magnetic card, which means you do its when revealed text, and then you remove 3 magnet counters from this scheme. That is the way it's worded, and I was very careful to be like, when you're revealing the card with this, the 3 magnet counters are already on Asteroid M. And that really mattered, because we got hit by some bad things. We actually lost the game because of electric shock, if I'm not mistaken. So we drew this, and we had 3 health left. This is one of the last cards in the encounter deck. We could have played around it, and we just drew this off of that magnetic ability. And it says, you are stunned, take 1 damage from each magnet counter in the main scheme. And so that just did 3 damage to us. It's not an attack, so you can't defend, you can't block with an ally, and we just lost. It was unceremonious. It felt bad. We probably should have played around this because there's 2 in the deck and they're worth playing around. But we drew this. There were 3 counters. We reveal it. We take 3 damage, and then we remove the counters. However, it turns out years ago, this was ruled. Somebody asked this question. I was looking at the Magneto scenario in Mutant Genesis, and I noticed about 1 in 4 of the magnetic cards add a magnet counter when revealed. And that is true. A whole bunch of the magnetic cards say, when revealed, add a magnet counter and then do something else. I don't know if I'm going to know a name of one. Magnetic shrapnel. There's one that you metal something. Basically, a bunch of the treacheries, half the treacheries, will also throw magnetic counters on the thing. Metal shards, yeah. So like, look at this one. This one says, when revealed, deal 1 damage to each character you control, place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. So if you reveal this, there'll be 3 counters on the main scheme, then you'll put a magnet counter on the main scheme, and then in theory, you'll clear some counters. However, this actually cascades, and I don't think this is ever, I've ran into this. It says, after you place magnet counters on the scheme, if there are at least 3 counters, reveal a magnetic card from the counter deck, and then you have to resolve it. Which means this actually cascades. So apologies, I'm all over the place with the explanation, but the short of the long is, say that there's 3 counters on Asteroid M, so you reveal cards from the top of the deck until you find a magnetic card. The magnetic card you reveal is metal shards. So then you have to do metal shards while there's still 3 cards or still 3 magnet counters. This says deal 1 damage to each character you control, so you do that, and then place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. Now there's 4 counters on the main scheme. Once there's 4 counters on the main scheme, this says, as soon as you place counters on here, if there's at least 3, discard cards until you get an encounter card. So you keep discarding cards, you get another magnet counter. Heaven forbid it's the next copy of metal shards. Now there's 5 counters, and then because you put a 5th counter, there's at least 3 counters, and so it can cascade. This actually hasn't happened to me, I don't think, but this should not happen. Like, this should happen more than it has, and maybe I played it wrong, but people were wondering, like, hey, what's going on here? I noticed about 1/4 of the magnetic cards add a magnet counter when revealed. When those cards are revealed as part of the response on the main scheme, this should cascade. Does it trigger the force response, and why not? And this was ruled, again, more than a year ago from my understanding through email. No, you should remove the 3 magnet counters first before resolving the magnetic card you revealed. That means functionally the text on this card on all 3 main schemes of Magneto has been wrong for a long time now, because it just is worded incorrectly. It should say, once there's 3 magnet counters here, discard cards until you find a magnetic card, remove 3 magnet counters, then reveal it. The options are backwards. To have it work the way that they wanted to work, the options are just straight up backwards, and that has huge implications, especially for your salty streamer who dies to electric shock that does 3 damage. In theory, when you reveal electric shock, all it's meant to do is stun you. Because if you reveal electric shock from the ability on the main scheme, there should be no counters on it, which means you shouldn't take 3 damage out of anywhere, and you shouldn't lose your Friday stream. I'm not bringing this up because I'm petty and upset about that. Like, that's fine. We lost. That's fine. I can live with that. That's for sure. I've played a lot of Marvel Champions. Sometimes you just lose them. Why I'm bringing this up is for 2 reasons. Firstly, just so you know, I checked like 50 games of Magneto. I have not known that they've ruled this differently in emails a long time ago. But the other thing is, like, maybe voicing a bit of my displeasure that this ruling has existed in emails pre the 1.6 rules reference that has come out, I believe, last year. That's the one that we always pull up if we look at rules. The end of the rules reference has a section of errata where things that are officially errata, it's very important things, like the fact that the main scheme in one of the encounters works totally different. Well, not totally different, but different enough that matters. It just wasn't compiled into that. And I don't know what that's about. I know since before the 1.6 has come out, I've emailed questions to FFG myself, and they've given responses and saying cards are not working the way they should. That's an error you caught. We should errata it. And those erratas also didn't end up in the 1.6. So I want to be very clear. Putting together the 1.6 rules reference is a Herculean amount of work, but it looks like there's some sort of workflow issue where some of these important erratas and changes are not becoming compiled so that publicly people can understand how they should be playing this game. Does Magneto work without this change? Of course it does. I've been playing Magneto. We've all been playing Magneto, maybe this. I think the minority of people don't know this text is that different, but that is actually a pretty substantial change, the way that Magneto plays out, particularly on higher difficulties where taking 3 damage out of nowhere is a problem. The philosophy of rules changes has changed drastically since Alex joined FFG, some of which they have explicitly done for individual card power. Like, it's not so much a conversation too about like, should they change cards? Shouldn't they? Like, I do think overall, yeah, this is probably worded in a way that's really unhealthy, and removing the counters and then revealing the card is probably more intuitive, but also makes that cascade not happen. I think that cascade will probably feel terrible if it shows up. The bigger thing is, like, I don't care if they errata stuff, that's fine. But like, if you errata something in like 2023 or whatever it was, and then you put out the 1.6 in 2024, these changes please need to be in the 1.6. I would have kept playing without this unless some kind viewer in YouTube chat was like, by the way, they fixed that years ago and they didn't tell anyone. It's like, the heck? Anyways, that's my rant here before we do unboxing. But just so you know, if you play Magneto, remove the counters first. I made a stink about it on the live stream. Make sure you don't remove the counters because that's not how it's worded. And it's unfortunate to be the other way. I do remember this ruling, and I don't remember if it's an FAQ or 1.6, which is unfortunate. It's not. I was aware of the ruling, but I couldn't give friendly reminder because I was on vacay. How's the vacay? But I'm hearing that we need a rematch versus the Magneto on the future stream. Maybe we do the Metallic Mayhem challenge. Yeah, Magneto is a really fun villain, and I actually think this change makes me more excited for Magneto, because having to play around the ability to just take 3 damage out of nowhere is not super interesting if you ask me. But like Magneto's structure, and Magneto is like one of my favorite final villains. I think it's a really well designed villain in general. These are errata adjacent changes, and silently saying the rules changes is truly maddening. Yeah, it's weird. And like, hold on, I don't want to destroy the right thing. Like, this is, again, you know, the rules document, and it's not in here. If we go to the errata section, which I guess we'll just scroll to the bottom. Oh, I searched for all the space bars. Okay. Like, it's just not in here. There's no clause for Magneto. If I just control F Magneto, there is no matches. There's literally no matches for Magneto in this document. So like, not going to happen. I don't know why that is. It looks like not everything's getting compiled. And again, this document is great. A compilation of this is a lot of work. There's a lot of emails. It's, again, the fact that we don't see these all the time is because they're very difficult to put these together. Like, I have so much sympathy. This is a hard document to nail, and it becomes, you know, the next gospel. So like, if you mess this up, then people are like, wait, that's wrong too. So it feels like you can't win in some cases, but I don't know. This ruling's been around for a while, and it did not make it into this, which is upsetting because this doesn't get updated that often. So yeah, nothing here, and then there's nothing in the errata section. Mutant Genesis, yeah, nothing. These are player cards, I think. Anyways, just watch out. That's all I wanted to say. Watch out. With that, let's do some unboxing, okay? I think we're gonna unbox Silk first. I'm gonna sleeve some stuff, but I want to start there just because we're not gonna play Silk, I don't think. But this is Silk, so let's open this up really quickly. Cold north as I apply sunscreen. It is pretty warm out. It is really quite warm out. It's just kind of a fun joke. It's like the Tony Hawk level. Welcome to Canada. It's just a winter wonderland. All right. We got some cards. We have an insert. I often don't end up reading the inserts. They don't have lore in them, right? It's just like rules clarifications if you don't know the keywords. This part of the process is always the hardest. Does anyone have a good trick of how to open this without damaging the cards? Because there's no like pull tab. These are the problems I have. And if I do this, it gets really bad really quickly, and I'm worried I'm going to scuff the cards. Does anyone have a good way to do this? This is where it always gets me. It should be easy to open, but it's not. And I'm worried I'm going to damage the corners if I'm too rough. Whatever. All right, we're going to go through the cards really quickly. I don't want to spend too long on this because I want to get to gameplay, but for a lot of people, this is bad content because they've had these cards before. That's what I think I have to keep in mind, that this is not new for everyone. It's only new for me. This is Silk, 10 health. Hold on, I just need to make the screen a bit bigger, and then we can get back to this. 1 second. Make the preview big. It's hard to read some of the character text because my preview screen and my eyes don't line up super well, so I have to make it very, very big. All right. 1, 2, 3. Love 3 defense. The fact that this like mimics both Spider-Man and the Gwen Spider Ghost, I never know her name, is really cool. The fact that they made Spider-Man a defense-based hero is fascinating, or a lot of the Web Warriors are. I think it's really cool. I like that stat line a lot. 1 thwart is hard for solo, so you have to watch around. You have to watch about that and build around it. It says, if there are more than 4 untucked cards here, discard all but 4 of those cards. So we're going to be putting cards underneath Silk. And Silk Sense response says, after you defeat a minion or side scheme or resolve a treachery card, you can choose to tuck that card underneath here from the counter discard pile. So we can have up to 4 cards. If you're going to have more than 4, you can discard some. So you can have full control of what goes underneath this. On its own, is that ability good to take cards out of the rotation of the encounter deck? In solo, not really, honestly. You generally get 1 acceleration icon, and that's only if you're unlucky. So just getting cards out of the rotation doesn't seem valuable. So I think we're going to really need strong payoffs of why we want to do that. That's my guess. Use a lighter to melt the plastic. The backside is Cindy Moon. Alter Ego, 3 recovery, 6, 10 health. If there are more than 4 tuck cards here, discard all by 4. So that's the same on both sides. So if you flip out, it's not like you can put more cards underneath this. Action, discard a tuck card here to draw 2 cards. That is definitely an upside, and that doesn't exhaust. So if you can get 2 cards here, you can flip down easily, have an 8 card hand size going in. That's pretty sick. So far, that's the payoff we've seen, and I assume that's a good enough payoff. Discarding a card to draw 2 is great, especially if you have 4 cards underneath there, because you might as well flip up. My guess is you want cards underneath there based off the encounter sets. So if you have 2 from the same encounter set, it might be fine to get rid of one of them, but I do think you're going to want to hold on to some of the cards, because if you have nothing tucked underneath you, I'm assuming the rest of your kit doesn't make sense. Now, here's the funny thing. I sleeved the big cards, or like the heroes, in Dragon Shields, and I sleeved the player cards in slightly cheaper sleeves. Actually, substantially cheaper sleeves, but they're still good sleeves. So, smooth as silk. I guess we can zoom in here. Nice. All right, we have 2 copies of this. 0 cost hero action. Choose an enemy or scheme in play. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a card from the same encounter set as the chosen card is discarded. Tuck the discarded card under Silk. So this does nothing? This functionally does nothing. Now, for what it's worth, sometimes these cards are good enough. Like sometimes you need these 0 cost events that allow you to reliably get to your, the ways that you interact with your hero kit. Like Weather Goddess and Storm we played on Friday, that at a minimum draws a card or does 2 damage or something. So it does something. This just puts a card underneath you. I'm unimpressed with this so far, but we'll see how important it is to get the right types underneath you. And if you can't get the right types, obviously this is super important. Choose an enemy, discard cards. It also discards cards from the top of the counter deck. That is kind of a cost. That is hard to kind of wrap. Like, I don't know how I sit about discarding cards off the top of the deck. Like cards like Come Get Me Bub are actually kind of really expensive. There's an issue if you play aggression, that getting a minion in front of you is really important, but then you have cards that discard cards from the deck until you get a minion, stuff like that. And that actually has an impact on how quickly you're getting through the bottom of your deck, and then how quickly you're getting acceleration icon, which if you're playing protection or aggression, acceleration icons are actually really, really rough. So if this is a protection deck that thwarts for 1, how bad is it that if we rip 5 cards from the deck and get closer to that acceleration icon when we're playing solo? I honestly don't know. But this could like discard a lot of cards. If you don't know the composition of the deck, this actually could do nothing in theory if you rip through the whole deck and have no cards on it. This is really weird. So I'm assuming that putting cards underneath Silk is really important, because that is a pretty underwhelming card with no other kicker. Speaking of kicker, swinging Silk Kick. 3 costs is going to do 8 damage, right? That's always the joke with these decks. Attack deals 7 damage for 3 to an enemy. You may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as that enemy. If you do, the attack deals 2 additional damage and gains overkill. So we have 3 copies of this. I mean, that's good to deal with the Goblin Glider, but that is 9 damage for 3, which is fine with overkill. That's really good. Doing excess damage with overkill is really good, but then you need to have synergy. Otherwise you're doing 3 for 7, which Spider-Man seems to be happy enough to do 3 for 8. I think swinging web kick in Spider-Man is actually really important, because that Spider-Man kit has like no damage in it, and that becomes your only damage. I'm not sure how many swinging web kicks are in Spider-Man. There's probably only 2. I'd be surprised if there's 3, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, this is probably fine. I think you need to play this to do damage, but then obviously you need it to line up well. Wall Crawl. We have 2 copies. 1 cost, Superpower Thwart. Was the kick a superpower? It is. That's really important for deft focus. This says remove 2 threat from a scheme. Okay, choose a scheme. You may discard a card tucked under Silk from that same encounter set as the chosen scheme to remove 3 threat from the chosen scheme. So it can be the same scheme, it can be a different scheme. If this is a 1 for 2, that's pretty bad. At least with deft focus is a 0 for 2. But if it's a 1 for 5, that's very, very good. I like this payoff, I feel like, a fair bit more than swinging web kick. With having 1 thwart, this seems really important. I don't know if we're going to be able to recur it, but that seems quite strong to do a 1 to 3, 1 to 5. On the main scheme, you can do it. With the main scheme, it's actually one of the easier ones to do this on, because it's actually not true, but a lot of encounter sets, the majority of the composition of the encounter set is from the villain, which means you're likely to find a Rhino card when playing against Rhino, and the main scheme is Rhino themed, right? It is from the same encounter set. I think that should work if I'm not mistaken. But otherwise, like, maybe it's a chance that you're playing against an encounter that only has like 3 or 4 cards in it, and that can be a problem. So the size of the deck and the villain composition actually will really matter into Silk, which is weird. Player side scheme. There's only 2 heroes I want to say that have unique player side schemes. 2, yeah, maybe it's just 2. Costs nothing. Alter Ego action, exhaust your identity to remove 2 threat from here. Any player may trigger that ability. It always comes in with 4. It doesn't scale to player count. I'm pretty sure the designers of Marvel Champions are on record somewhat recently saying that they want to give reasons for you to exhaust your Alter Ego. And I do think you'll see that on Black Panther. On Shuri has a really strong ability to exhaust an Alter Ego, but they want you to flip down to Alter Ego and exhaust an Alter Ego and make that as enticing as exhausting as a hero. And this is technically better than your normal thwart, so if you want to deal with it, I guess you can do that. Now, when defeated, the Cindy Moon player looks at the top 2 cards in the counter deck and tucks one of those cards under their identity. Holy crap. Okay. That's a lot of threat for pretty minimal ability. You do look at the top cards of the deck, so I think after you look, you don't shuffle, right? And says, unless it says search. You don't do you shuffle? Hawkeye's Quiver. Do you shuffle? This says search. Okay, search is always shuffle, so I don't think look shuffles. So you'll know the top of the deck. But putting 4 threat just to get an encounter card underneath you feels really bad. Like, I'm assuming the payoffs have to be quite good for the encounter card matching, but this does not seem like a good use of my time. That is a lot of effort. That is a lot of effort just to get an encounter card. And so for the encounter card payoffs, we always get an encounter card in the hero mode, right? As long as we defeat something, we get an encounter card. Why would we want to do this? After you defeat a minion or a side scheme or resolve a treachery, like that should happen every round. And this is not once per round, so I don't understand that. That doesn't seem good. Okay. Albert Moon. Exhaust Albert Moon to choose. Tuck the top card in the counter deck under Cindy Moon. Okay, so you won't know what that is, but like Albert Moon costs 2 while our side scheme costs 4. Oh, wait, what is the threat on our side scheme? Oh, our side scheme 2 is like really weird because our side scheme has the Silk trait on it. So in theory, Silk says after you defeat a minion or a side scheme or resolve a treachery, tuck that card. So you can tuck a Silk card underneath you, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's any reasons to do that besides you can get rid of it for draw 2. So in theory, you can get rid of Get the Scoop and immediately draw 2 in Alter Ego. I mean, that's kind of cute. But Albert Moon already seems like it's doing pretty well. So tuck the top card in the counter deck under Cindy Moon. This kit seems to value that. I'm not sure how good it is. I'm assuming it's important. Or heal 1 damage from Cindy Moon for each card tucked underneath her. That's potentially really good. That's a not exhaustible recovery. That's nice. That you can jump down and do this twice if you stay in Alter Ego for 1 turn. So that seems fine. But this seems like a much better way to get cards underneath you than what's it called? Than Get the Scoop. Now, Get the Scoop sees 2 cards and you pick one. I think that's going to be a problem with Albert Moon or the kit in general, is that if you have 3 cards underneath you that are from the same set, you're going to struggle to interact with something. Like if you're playing with a minion set and you want to do a bunch of overkill damage to minion, but you don't have a minion underneath you, you'll run into some problems. Hey, it's JJ. J. Jonah Jameson. Alter Ego action. Exhaust this card, search the deck and discard power for Get the Scoop and put into play. Exhaust this card, remove 2 threat from a side scheme. Oh, fuck. Okay, the bottom's really good. Bottom text is fine. This is like a beat cop, but maybe more flexible. It removes 2 threat. It's not a threat action, so that gets around either 1 patrol or crisis. I never know the difference. We have to look into it. That Alter Ego action, I mean, you'll do it if you want to do it to get it out of your deck. It does thin your deck, but this is a 3 cost support, which is particularly expensive. I like you, Analog. But remove 2 threat a turn is like on a 3 cost support is kind of fine. I imagine that is actually totally fine as a hero action. And it can be either side. It's only a side scheme though, so it's not a main scheme. So that's actually a fair bit worse than I think it is. Yeah, so far, I don't think I understand what's going on here. This is called eidetic. How poorly did I spell this that I can't find it? Oh, crap. I must have spelled this so wrong. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. I wrote eidetic. Interrupt, 1 cost upgrade. We only have 1 of these in the deck. When you reveal a card from the same encounter set as a card tucked under your identity, exhaust eidetic memory, swap those cards, reveal the card that has been tucked underneath Silk instead. Okay, so we're beginning to see the payoffs of having cards underneath you and getting the right card underneath you. That is potentially quite powerful. Swapping those cards means that you'll stay with the same amount of cards, but you basically can say, oh, instead of drawing advance, you can draw another card from the standard encounter set, like the one that makes you discard an upgrade or support. That is pretty powerful. This exhausts, so you can only do it once, but that lines up relatively well, and it's only when you reveal. So if you're playing multiplayer, you can't help the team. This is a reasonable payoff so that you actually have reasons now to go search for certain cards, but I'm still surprised on Get the Scoop. It only looks at 2 cards. That is not a lot of cards, so you're not going to get a great choice. It's better than the top card, of course, but strange. Have you ever thought of tucking Get the Scoop if you're in hero form for free draw for 2 later? I mean, you can do it. It's fine. It'll eventually end up in your discard pile if you get rid of it, but yeah. All right, 2 cost organic webbing, also a superpower, which is sick. These are all superpowers. Having superpower upgrades are nice too, because you can use them with a def focus. This is organic webbing Silk, not the Spider Ham one. Silk gets +1 thwart, huge help for solo. 2 thwart is big. Hero action, exhaust organic webbing and discard a card tucked under Silk, ready Silk. She gains the aerial trait until the end of the round. So this is what I mean, that cards like Smooth as Silk now are starting to get a bit of context, because in theory, with organic webbing on the table, every time you play Smooth as Silk, you technically get a ready, as long as you have no card underneath you, or there's a card you want to keep underneath you. The ready is like not bad when you're playing a Silk or playing a defense deck. I actually like that a lot because I can block always in the villain phase and then consistently ready myself. And then if I ready myself, I can at least use my 2 attack or 2 thwart, and specifically you'll have 2 thwart. I like readying abilities when I'm playing block heavy heroes because it sometimes feels bad to enter the hero phase. Like once you commit to block to the villain and then a bunch of like encounter cards come out like minions, that feels really bad. So having a ready in a block based hero is always like really quite nice. And this seems like a generous ready. Again, you're going to be getting a card underneath you, I think just about every round. It's either side scheme, encounter, or what's the last one? Or minion, which means everything besides obligations will give you a card usually once per turn. This seems fine. That seems really good. Yay, Pat, how's it going? Outwit. Hero Interrupt, 2-cost upgrade. When Silk makes a basic thwart, exhaust Outwit. For this thwart, she gets +1 thwart for each card tucked underneath her from the same encounter set as the thwarted scheme. Oh, now we're talking. That's cool. So as long as you're now managing, and again, Smooth as Silk says discard cards on the top of the counter deck. So as much as that will damage the encounter deck, you can really ensure that you'll get a card of a certain type underneath you. As long as you're aware, like check the discard pile. There's only one more card from a set. Probably don't rip for it. But this means you can get a lot of thwart. I think this is going to be really dependent on the counter sets you're playing against. Like there's some encounter sets that are just entirely side schemes. And if that's the case, that's going to be really, really good. You'll just collect all the side schemes. But the problem is if you collect all the side schemes with Outwit, there's not going to be a lot of ways to pay off because you have all the side schemes. So the chance of them coming back in when you rotate the deck is super, super low. Weird. For each card tucked underneath here for the same encounter set as the thwarted scheme. Now this doesn't have to be side schemes. This can be the main scheme. So you can very easily just grab cards from the base villains and counter set and then just work on the main scheme. This set seems clumsy. So far, this kit seems a bit clumsier than I thought it would be. I'm very excited to see this hit the table to see how much agency you have, because it's going to really change if you play against a set that has a bunch of small modulars versus one big modular. Spider Claws. When Silk makes a basic attack, exhaust the claws, so probably the same text, right? For this attack, she gets +1 attack for each card tucked underneath her from the same encounter set as the attacked enemy, and this attack gets piercing. So you can always just tap for piercing on the basic attack, which is fine. At a minimum, this should be +1 attack, putting you to 3, which is fine, but you can like really build into this. I think this is much more interesting than the scheming one, because there's a lot more sets that have a lot of minions than there's a lot more sets that have a lot of side schemes. That being said, this works well against the villain. This works well, just like this one works well against the villain, because you can just like send it for big damage. This seems totally fine. And you don't even remove the encounter cards, right? You just exhaust this. Yeah, so you can have massive attack. Sick. Give yourself overkill if you want. That's cool. Spider reflexes. It's a superpower. Hey, Jason Sketch, how's it going? We just got in Canada today, Silk and Black Panther. So we're just doing some quick unboxings, talking about the cards, because I actually haven't seen a lot of these cards. And then we're going to be playing some Precon Shuri, and we're going to be playing it against, we're going to start with Black Widow, because that seemed fine. That was like, what's the testing villain of modern 2025? And then we'll probably go and fight off against Klaw, which I know we'll have a Nemesis minion issue, but we'll ignore that. So this is probably similar again. When Silk defends, getting attacked by Pitchfork, you get +1 defense exhaustus for each card tucked. After this attack, tuck the top card of the encounter deck discard pile underneath Silk. So after this attack means when the boost card enters the bin, if you discard multiple boost cards, do you pick the order they hit the bin? This actually goes +1 card, which is kind of fascinating. The other ones don't go +1 card, they're neutral, but this actually goes +1 card because you'll be constantly grabbing cards from underneath the bin and getting more and more defense. Weird. You definitely want to block. I think this is probably less necessary because you already have a 3 block stat, and it's often much more important on a certain turn to get like a certain breakpoint for attack to deal with minions or to clear schemes. Getting yourself more block, there seems like there's easier ways in the game to do it, but like this doesn't cost you much to do, so that's fine. All right, this kit, I don't get it. I honestly do not get it. I'm very excited to see this hit the table. This does not seem incredibly strong. This seems fiddly. The payoff for cards underneath you was not as new. Like, it's subtle. It's not as like straightforward as I thought it would be. It's just a bunch of stat boosts here. I think the one card that's really interesting is the memory card, which allows you to like basically choose the encounter cards you're getting to some extent. The supports, not great. The side scheme, I honestly don't know if I'd play it. Wall crawl is really good. A 1 for 5 is really good. The 3 for 7 is fine. 3 for 9 is good. It's a superpower, so you can make it cheaper. And then Smooth as Silk seems important, but not a fun thing. Sleeving ASMR stream when carry us going. I need to really change my microphone settings to be able to ASMR. It cuts me out all the time whenever we get to an ASMR stream on accident. This isn't grabbing me, I'll be honest. I'm excited to play it because it's definitely going to play different than I think, but right off the top, yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. That's for sure. These cards I've seen some of these, and I'm really excited for these. So we're going to get a bunch of web warriors. We have some really cool web warriors. We have Scarlet Spider. Okay, not this guy. This one. 5 health is a lot. 3 costs for 1/1, but 2 consequential on both sides. When another web warrior character would take any amount of damage, so that can be a minion, that can be your hero as well. Scarlet Spider takes that damage instead. This is not a forced interrupt. So you can just put Scarlet Spider on the table, and it's basically like healing 5. And so every time you activate with an ally, they can take the consequential instead. So if you have a really big ally that takes a lot of consequential, you can basically offload it here for a while, which is kind of cute. I don't think you want to thwart or attack with Scarlet Spider. I think you just want to play Ben and then use Ben as a battery or even a safety net. Where this basically, if you install this on the table, you gave your hero +5 health, and then Scarlet Spider can even chump block the last hit. So you actually functionally give yourself like +8 health in a lot of board states. Now it's when you would take any amount of damage, so you can't divide it. So if I took 7 damage, or I guess can you put 7 damage on Scarlet Spider? I guess you can, because the interrupt happens at once. But if I take 5 damage, can I put 4 on Scarlet Spider, 1 on me? No, I don't think you can do that. But yeah, this actually seems kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly where I would play it. It kind of falls into the same camp as like Energy Barrier, and I like Energy Barrier a heck of a lot. Really, really great card, but a similar kind of idea where it's something you can offload, and just having allies as well with the Web Warrior trait. I'm not super Web Warrior pilled because I came into the game a bit after all the Sinister Motives Web Warrior stuff came out, so I didn't spend a lot of time playing all the Web Warrior synergy cards, but the Web Warrior allies have a lot of inherent synergy that they get a lot better the more of them you play, for sure. Now this card I saw in previews, and this card is really cool. Spider Bite comes in for free. 1 for each, reduce the cost of 1 for each tech upgrade you control. It has 2 thwart. That's really good for a protection deck. A lot of protection decks want to play tech cards because they have that really powerful card that readies them. There's so many decks that can play this. SPDR can play this really easily. I would play this in Iron Man really easily, but just having it like a free, functionally what should be free in most decks. 0 cost, 2 thwart is really good. And if you play any of the Spider bounce effects, you can do a lot with Spider Bite, because as long as you can return Spider Bite to hand, you can play Spider Bite again, draw with Web Warrior of the Web, whatever that card is that allows you to draw whenever a minion leaves play. Really, really good. This set makes me want to try Green Hawkeye. Why? You don't have a lot of defense stat. You also don't have a lot of health. This is not today. This is a reprint. So this is just new art. Art's pretty good too. I haven't really played this card yet. There's a lot of one defense events that I think get a bit more valuable when you play multiplayer, because you can technically like move around attacks for other people. This one's not bad though. One of my issues I have with blocking is that you don't do threat. I think I like the I forget the name of the upgrade that says when you perfect block, remove a threat. I like that a fair bit more in solo because it's the same cost and you get on the table a lot of times. This gives you +2 defense, which is nice. Definitely can't understate that, especially on higher difficulties, but it's a card that hasn't been my favorite, but it definitely has a role. And in certain decks where I'm struggling to deal with threat, I actually look at Not Today for sure. Now this card is hella cool. This is a bit clumsier than I think it is, but it's a hero response attack for 2. After you defend against an enemy attack and take no damage, so that is a qualifier, deal damage to the enemy equal to your defense for that attack. This is the card that I kind of really wanted in some of the last videos that I've already filmed. I figured out other ways to add more damage, but this is actually one of the highest damage cards in the whole game. I think you kind of have to cheese it, but I know that there's a way. There's that one blocking card in Gambit that I don't know the name offhand, but it gives you basically plus block equal to the amount of counters you have on Gambit, which can go infinite. So you technically can give yourself like 20 defense stat. Now this is deal damage for enemy equal to your defense for that attack. So this is after you defend against an enemy attack and take no damage. So I think you might have to be careful for things that give you a defense stat for the whole phase versus for that defense. I'm pretty sure this might work on both, but I'd have to look into the rules. But this card, I don't think it's that good on its own. There's a whole bunch of like cheap things that can do damage by blocking. Like I think Preemptive Strike is a really good card, especially on higher difficulties where there's more boost icons. But otherwise, if you do boost yourself up, there's some really goofy build around stuff you can do with this card. This card is potentially like quite powerful. Dr. Sinclair. All right, there's like a cool, shouldn't type doctor. There's so many things that start with that. I went through all the Drang cards. There's like a cool precedent of having these unique personas and protection that give you a bit of like value. Shout out to the Night Nurse, which saw a lot of play in a bunch of my earlier decks. I feel like I don't play the Night Nurse at all anymore, but Night Nurse is a good card. This is alter ego action, exhaust doctor to spend a mental resource. Heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. You may discard a status card from your identity. So similar to Night Nurse, except it is unlimited, but it costs a resource and it scales better. Night Nurse only heals for 1. This heals for more than that usually. But any player may trigger this ability. It's not bad. You can flip down. You can get some healing if you have a resource. And then if you can flip up again, and mind you, there's some cards in this set that allow you to flip up again. That is definitely valuable. I feel like there's a lot of these sort of healing cards that you can flip down, do a bit of healing, flip up. There is the neutral support that is like the sort of like base camp, the military camp you can do. You have the Night Nurse is still pretty good. You could do Angel's Airy, which is a card that I've never really put into any deck because I never really needed it. I haven't felt like healing has been the biggest problem in protection, but the fact that any player can trigger this, if you're playing multiplayer, this is a very generous card, especially in multiplayer where like jumping up and down happens more consistently. I would be very surprised if I end up playing this in solo, because I think playing 2 and then 1 more for this just to recover probably doesn't make sense. I'm not very keen when I'm playing protection to spend a lot of resources in alter ego. That being said, Silk wants to go alter ego. She has a really good reason. Draw 2 cards is a strong ability. And then one of the cards coming up allows you to, in protection, especially in solo, go into alter ego a bit more. But yeah, interesting card for sure. Oh, this card's really cool too. I like the art a lot. Energy Shield, protection. We got a full play set. Attached to a character, max 1 per character. Can you attach this to your opponent's characters? Or not your opponent, sorry, your teammates' characters? I guess you can? I forget what the ruling is for cards you can put in front of anybody. Whether it says, I think it specifically says that. I think it says you can attach to any, maybe you can't, I don't know. When attached character would take any amount of damage, spend X energy resources to prevent X of that damage. This is, again, super flexible. It is a cheap tech, which is already valuable in a lot of build arounds. But this means that you can prevent consequential damage. This means an ally can go infinite. You can obviously put this on yourself. And if you have a lot of energy resources, saying you're playing like a cheesy Captain Marvel deck, you can never take damage, just get cards out of your hand. That's obviously not very sustainable. Spending 1 energy resource to block 1 damage is pretty bad. That's not a good trade in this game. But using this on allies is quite cool. And if there's any sort of abilities in certain encounter sets that like do ping damage and then have downsides for that ping damage, like Sandman maybe is a bad example, this is a neat card for sure. I do think that you can build around this card, Voltroning on allies, and then they don't take damage, they go infinite. That actually is a bit, it's probably a bit more expensive than healing, but it's a bit more consistent than healing. But healing effects usually are about this cost, if not cheaper. This card though, nope, not you. This card is so good for solo. I'm so excited for this card. Ready for a Fight. Requires 1 physical resource. I'll definitely forget this at some point, like everyone does. Max 1 per player. Interrupt when an enemy would scheme. Discard Ready for a Fight. Change to hero form and the enemy attacks you instead. This is just so good. Not for so many reasons. Firstly, it's an interrupt, so you actually can do this in alter ego and in hero mode. It's not an alter ego action, so you just don't have to play around advance anymore. If advance or dark dealings comes out, or dark designs, and you're worried about the hero just, on solo scheming, and you just lose to that, you probably, if you watch gameplay on this channel, you know so much of my checking the counter discard pile is how many copies of Advance or Dark Design is left, because you just lose in solo. If the villain schemes and they just get a good boost card and you haven't brought the scheme down to 0 every turn, it's really, really quite bad for you. And this card just doesn't care. It's also not forced, which is sick. Not you again. 1 second. So that you can choose not to fire it if you don't want to fire it. You can fire it in alter ego to jump to hero mode, but you can just, this is so damn flexible. Really, really good. It's only max 1 per player, so you can't put a bunch on the table. It's a preparation. There's some cool preparation synergy. You can bring this back with the last preparation card, the neutral one that came out in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box. So you actually can have this on the table all the time. Oh my God, this is really good. This is really, 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 really good for solo players, especially solo protection players who are not very good at thwarting. There is a card that does basically this effect in Colossus. I think you'll still play this card as well, but it makes it so much easier for you to jump down to alter ego as well to get your abilities. So maybe Dr. Sinclair looks a bit better. Hey, the air conditioner just turned on. Does the audio sound any different? I don't think it does, but let me know if it does. You can attach energy shield to enemies. Cyclops asks the villain to hold this is really funny if I feel not intended. Oh yeah. Okay. What about like your teammates? Because you can attach this to enemies. Yeah, that's true. So you can prevent enemy damage. I don't know why you'd want to do this. Can you attach it to who's the name of the sound is good, thank you, Jake. Who's the name of the guy you're rescuing in Sabretooth? Because I know you can't heal him. Oh, he probably says no attachments either, but you can't give him an energy shield, right? The Senator Kelly. I'm pretty sure Senator Kelly says no healing, but also says no I can't find Senator Kelly. I don't know what I put it underneath. So anyways, I'll have to look into that. Stun gun. It's cool to see. Do you like some tech cards? Now this is not Sonic Rifle. Sonic Rifle is just a cracked card. Unfortunately, the protection version of Sonic Rifle is way worse. It's restricted, so you can only have 2 weapons usually. It comes in with 2 charge counters. When it's empty, you have to discard it, which is not great. If this didn't discard itself, it'd be a lot more flexible in protection techs that want to discard their tech cards to ready themselves. And then you can exhaust this to remove 1 or 2 counters as a hero to either stun a minion, which is not an amazing effect, it's okay, or spend your whole card to stun the villain. So this is 2 resources to stun the villain. Admittedly, you can put this down on a certain turn and fire it later. A lot of protection decks don't actually want to stun the villain that much because they get a lot of their value from blocking. That is their good stat. I don't know what to do with this card. It's fine. I think if your deck has like tech synergies, you might consider playing this. Like Iron Man can set up with this and deal with the board and deal with the villain. But Iron Man wants to keep this into play. Keep this in play. I don't know. I'm waiting for us to get a resource card that pitches well for tech cards. I think that's gonna be really cool. We definitely have some tech-based, heroes that want to do tech stuff, but this card is like, it's fine. I don't think it's that great. Watching from the start at 2x speed, catching live 50 minutes. Poldrix, good luck. Off to the races. All right, we have Madame Web. I remember this card being pretty cool. 3 costs, Web Warrior. 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health, so low health, but stats are fine. After Madame Web enters play, look at the top X cards in the counter deck, where X is the number of Web Warrior cards you control. This will include her. This will also include your hero if you're playing a Web Warrior in your hero side. Of course, you can play allies as well. You may discard 1 card looked at this way and put the rest back in any order. That's not bad. I think that's going to synergize a fair bit better with Silk. If you can do this sort of bounce stuff with Web Warriors and play her over and over again, I think that's pretty expensive. I think there are certain encounters that you really want to get rid of, especially if you're playing in standard, or there's certain villains that certain encounter cards hit worse than others. This effect is not bad. I'm assuming you're often looking at the top 3 cards. For what it's worth, what's the name of the blindfold? I was going to say, what's the name of the character with the blindfold? I play blindfold a heck of a lot, but blindfold thwarts for 2, and it looks at the top 5, discards, and puts them back. I will play blindfold constantly, and blindfold just seems like a better version of Madame Web. Right? After look at the top 5, discard 1 of the cards, put the rest back in the same order. Doesn't attack as well, but the stats are the same. She's psionic, which matters, but not Web Warrior. This has Web Warrior synergy, can technically attack, but it has just worse text. I don't know. I do play blindfold consistently. Blindfold's good, but this is like fine. Spider-Man. I didn't put it with a hyphen. So this is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, basic. How many times do I have to tab through before I find it? Oh, a lot, it turns out. This card's really good. It's very hard to play because you need all 3 resource types. If you can cheat it onto the table, it's pretty good. As much as if you reduce the cost to play it, you actually are caught in a problem because you didn't play all 3 types, so you can't play it. So you have to watch out. It says after Spider-Man attacks or thwarts, choose another Web Warrior character, ready that character. Just very, very good. Great stats, great number. Readies you, readies your hero, other minions. This card is just a staple. It's a reprint though. Okay, this is one of the cards. Across the Spider-Verse. So this is one of the big Web Warrior synergy cards. Exhaust a Web Warrior card you control to search your discard pile for a Web Warrior ally and put it into play. Then choose a player. That player may spend 3 resources to repeat this effect. So you can go infinite. This works better in multiplayer. In solo, it's basically 2 costs to get an ally from your bin. That's Web Warrior. Again, bringing back Spider-Man is good. Bringing back Madame Web after it enters play. So Madame Web will fire her ability. Yeah, it's fine. I honestly haven't played it that much in Web Warrior decks if I'm playing solo. I like the other one, the upgrade, a bit better, that draws cards when a Web Warrior leaves, but this card is definitely fine if you're especially playing expensive folk. Does Wild not count for those requirements? Wild counts for those requirements? I don't know if I said hi, Joel. You just have to say whenever you spend a Wild, what to make the Wild count for. So the text on Wild is, when you spend the Wild, you declare what the Wild is for. Unless the card requires printed resources of a type, as long as you're spending resources, Wild should work for any of those. So it's not that bad to play, especially if you have generators that generate Wild resources. But if you like Quinn Carrier this, not Quinn Carrier, is it Quinn Carrier? I never remember the basic one. Like Quinn Carrier will work because you can make the type, but the Hella Carrier, that one won't work because Hella Carrier reduces the cost. And if you reduce the cost, you don't play all 3 requirements and then you run into an issue. Investigative journalism. This is really cool. This is, I think, our first alter ego team up card. So this is Cindy Moon and Peter Parker. Cindy, Moon, or Peter Parker, one of them has to be the alter ego. I'm pretty sure the other one can still be ally. So there's a lot of Peter Parkers out there. There's only one Cindy Moon. I don't think we have a Cindy Moon ally, a traded ally. I'm not sure if that will work, if that's only the subtitle. But it says when an enemy would scheme, cancel that activation and confuse that enemy. This is a really powerful card if you want to keep it in your hand, which is an expensive cost in this game. But if you stay in alter ego and you have a Peter Parker on the table, canceling and confusing means you bought yourself a whole bunch of time to sit down in alter ego. And maybe that's why you go stay in journalism mode and you just keep, you know, working at get the scoop. I'm not sure. I can't tell, but that is a very powerful card. And seeing an alter ego team up is like really, really cute. I think these become a couple in the narrative. Is there a Silk Cindy Moon ally? I don't think so, Andy. How's it going, by the way? I'll check really quickly, but Silk, there is this Silk Cindy Moon. So there is. Oh, you're saying there is a Cindy Moon ally. Does this count? This Silk, mind you, is a pretty fine card. It's a really cheap ally, and it gets rid of a card from your from the Treachery deck. Like, this seems better than a lot of other stuff, but yeah. Does this count? I guess it does count, right? Yeah, good. There is. Yeah. Okay, cool. We get the Shield traded arts, which you only get one in the Agent of Shield box, which I like having more. Maybe you get two. I feel like you don't get two, but getting more of these is great. We have an obligation, Silk Sense Overload. Give it the Cindy Moon player. Oh, I like this already. Has interesting text. It seems it doesn't just have the exhaust text. When a card would be tucked under your identity by a player card effect, tuck it under here instead. Then if there are 2 tucked cards here, you may discard this card and remove it from the game if there are 3 or more tucked cards here. So you can either work on this really heavily. This will just shut off your ability. This seems like an absolute disaster. It does seem like Silk's kit really wants to have cards underneath. As much as a bunch of Silk's effects, as long as you draw this into the mid game, if you have a bunch of cards tucked underneath you, all of your upgrades will be boosting your stats adequately. That I don't think this is a huge issue. But if you draw this as your first encounter card, and then you have to deal with this first before, you know, actually having text on most of your cards, I imagine that will be a nightmare. Yeah, that's a bit swingy to me, it seems, but again, I have to play Silk. Loving your champions output. Thank you, Andy. That's very kind. I've been pretty happy checking along. I'm editing some videos. We're trying to do a video a week if we're lucky. It's been good. Thank you. All right, Nemesis set. We have Morlin from the Inheritors. This is the Nemesis Morlin. 5, 1 scheme, 1 attack. Gets +1 scheme and attack for each encounter card tucked underneath each identity. And when defeated, discard each copy of Hunting the Spider Bite tucked under each identity. So it's going to be adding cards that you can tuck underneath yourself. I think they forced you to tuck them underneath you. So this can get pretty big. It's only 5 health though. It doesn't have quick strike. So for a lot of use cases, that means it won't actually matter. We have the Great Hunt. Oops. 2 threat only. When revealed, place 1 additional threat here for each card tucked underneath each identity. So unless there's multiple Silks, which that won't happen, you're assuming that there's going to be 6 threat on here if you have 4 underneath you. So it's just 6 threat for a Hazard Icon. That's not the worst. It's definitely not good for you. The fact that this enters as the Silk Nemesis set means that you probably won't have any Silk Nemesis cards underneath you. And if that's the case, it's going to be hard to clear this quickly because the one big way that you boost your thwart is by getting cards underneath you with the same type as this. So this is probably going to be hard to get rid of if you're playing solo because your 1 for 5 won't work against it. And then your big thwart booster also won't work. Spider card is swingy? Lol. Okay, we have 3 Hunting the Spider Bite. So the set is like pretty symmetrical. The Spider Bride. So these all have Surge. When revealed, if you have 4 cards tucked underneath your identity, discard one of those cards randomly and tuck this card under in its place. It says Force Response. After a player card effect discards this card from under an identity, the identity takes 2 damage. That's rough. That's just a lot of damage. That means that these are going to end up underneath you for sure. But it's only if you have 4 cards tucked under your identity. Discard one of those cards at random. Oh, tuck this card under your identity is not attached. So no matter what, this is going underneath you. Either it'll make room or it'll still go underneath you. That is a lot of damage. Now, these cards underneath you, you can get rid of them. They won't have a lot of synergy because the other copies of this card are going to be underneath you. And so the only cards that these interact with are Morlin and the Great Hunt. And you're probably going to deal with these before these show up. So this is just going to like really gunk up your style and force you to take a whole bunch of damage for no reason. So far seemed kind of rough. I'm excited to see how it plays out, but it does seem pretty strong. All right, Spider-Man 2099, leadership, 4 cost, expensive, 3 health, 2 thwart, 2 attack with stars. After Spider-Man 2099 uses a basic power, return a Web Warrior ally in play to its owner's hand. Damn. If you are playing 2 players and someone has Spider Bite and someone has Spider-Man 2099, you can go infinite. There's a lot of really good interplays ability. And also, again, I think the Warrior of the Web support or upgrade says that whenever a web warrior leaves play, draw a card. This seems really quite good. This is an ally that you definitely could consider healing and Voltroning. It gives a lot of flexibility. It's not a forced response, but this is a massive build around for the web warriors. Off the top, I couldn't tell you if web warriors are evenly distributed on the ally side across all of the aspects. There's a chance that there's more in one aspect than others. I don't think I played a lot of leadership web warrior stuff in the history of the game, but that's a very powerful ability. Hey, Jessica Drew, Spider Woman. Oh, we have Spider Girl aggression. This is Spider Woman aggression. 3 cost, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Response after web warrior ally, including this one, enters play, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Cool. That's a build around. That's fun. I don't know how many cheap web warriors there are. At least there's Spider Girl. I think she's 2. But that's also really fun. And this is after an ally enters play, so it's another card that will scale up a lot better if you're playing multiplayer. A lot of the web warrior cards really scale well with multiplayer. So if you play somebody like, you know, playing 4 people, each person's playing a different web warrior, you have a lot of synergy points there. 2 copies of Quick Quip. 3 copies of Quick Quip. I feel like we had this card. Is this a reprint? No, I'm thinking of Thwip Thwip. This is like similar to Thwip Thwip. Thwip Thwip is deal 1 damage for 2 stuns. This is Quick Quip, which is not Thwip Thwip. And Quick Quip is the same idea. It has a requirement though, deal 1 damage to do 2 confused status to 2 enemies. So it is symmetrical to Thwip Thwip is Quick Quip. Good job, FFG, that's sick. Most are in basic and protection, a few in justice, I think 1 in both leadership and aggression. Okay. The basic ones are the ones that I know of the most, like Miles and Gwen and Spider-Mans, all of the Spider-Mans. We have another investigative journalism, which is pretty cute, so you and your friend can play it. And then we have an encounter set, which is Atlas. This is a Thunderbolt set. The Thunderbolt sets, I believe every hero is coming with a Thunderbolt set on top of extra player cards, which I'm actually really big fan of that. I like it when it's a bit of both. So this is a card that's going to come in with a lot of health because it can be one of your Thunderbolts, which are these elite minions that have huge health scaling. I think Atlas from all the Thunderbolts I've seen might be the scariest one because it does have a clock attached to it. I don't have that much experience playing the Thunderbolt scenario because I think the Thunderbolt scenario is not particularly interesting solo. I think I'm going to see what it looks like not solo this weekend if things go well. But Alice comes in with 0 scheme, 3 attack, villainous victory 1, gets +2 hit points for each growth counter. And after the villain phase ends, you place a growth counter on Atlas. So you are really on the clock against Atlas because this is better than healing. You just get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think the bigger problem is grow invulnerable, which is here. And this card, I was really shocked. When revealed, place 1 additional threat here for each growth counter on Atlas, and if Atlas has 10 or more growth counters, the players lose the game. This won't consistently show up because I don't think the Thunderbolt scenario grabs the encounter cards, the side schemes super consistently, but you can just lose. So like you can't like play slow against this. Not only is Atlas getting bigger, but like I don't think we've seen a card like this in a normal encounter set that just says you lose the game. That is messed up. Like this is by far the scariest Thunderbolt by a mile. And I don't think I'm actually that afraid of most of the Thunderbolts. This one does frighten me. That is a very powerful effect. Now you always have a card named after the encounter set. This is Growing Strong. When revealed, find Atlas and reveal him. Atlas activates against you if no enemy acted this way. This card gains Surge. So there's always a way to grab the thing. This means that if you're playing this as a normal modular, Atlas will show up as a 1-of in the deck more consistently, but at least you get an activation as well if you're playing in Thunderbolts. And then you might end up with 2 villains on you or 2 big minions. Titanic Proportions. The players as a group take X indirect damage where X is the number of growth counters on Atlas. If X is less than 3, this card gains Surge. This is also like really, really bad. You're in a very bad clock. If there is like 9 growth counters, just taking 9 indirect damage on a lot of board states can just end you. This one seems way stronger than a lot of the other Thunderbolts I've seen. Like the other Thunderbolts are kind of forgettable that I don't know what the text is. This is text you'll remember. This is something else. Neat. Cool. Overall, this set, I definitely want to play it. I'm assuming the Precon is probably not that good. But Silk's kit seems to be kind of all over the place. I don't see strong payoffs, and it's asking for a fair bit in terms of like managing the discard pile and remembering how many copies of cards are in and stuff. It's like, it seems pretty high skill, but it doesn't seem like it has a high payoff. I'm probably going to be surprised, so I'm not dismissing this. I'm very excited to play this, but it looks strange. It definitely looks a bit weird. It's not exactly what I thought it'd be. Enough for in basic, you can easily run them in any aspect. Okay, cool. All right, let's put that aside. And these will go aside too. And let's open. We'll take a little coffee break, but we'll open Shuri, Black Panther, and we're gonna play Black Panther Shuri. Okay. Give you a moment to struggle. Not embarrassed at all. Packaging is really difficult, right? All right, again, I said this at the beginning of the stream. This looks a lot like a reimagining of Black Panther from the original core set. So Black Panther from the original core set, one of the first villains to ever come out, is pretty sleepy. I have gone back and replayed Black Panther, and I'll be honest, retaliate is my favorite keyword, so it makes it pretty easy. But Black Panther's set is a bit one note, maybe two notes. First note is Wakanda forever, Wakanda forever, Wakanda forever. Second note is that you're very good at generating resources. You have one of the best alter ego supports in the core set, but you also just have a whole bunch of vibranium in your deck. So while there's still other heroes that feel like they can have a similar economy, like Captain Marvel, that was one of the big things that Black Panther could do. But the Black Panther set just felt a bit linear. It was just set up your upgrades, your supports. You make one cool decision at the beginning of the game, which support do you want to enter play or have in your hand, or technically even just use it to discard so you don't have to draw it. And then from that point forward, the game was a bit samey. Played Thunderbolt on vacay this past week. Wonderful vacay, by the way. And Alice priority 1 for defeating. By our 3 players combined, we took him out on turn 3 by hyper-focusing. Yeah, I think you need to. I'm not surprised. I would say 100% you have to hyper-focus the heck out of Atlas because you will just lose the game. When you defeat him, I'm assuming he loses all his counters. So if he comes back with 5 health from that 1 encounter card, like, you're probably fine. Thunderbolts is underwhelming in solo. It's more fun in multiplayer. Also varies in fun and dynamism depending on the mods you use. Yeah, I'm really excited to play with my partner, so at least there's the dance. But in solo, a lot of that Agent Shields box on solo does not land well, which for me, who mostly plays solo, it's just not my favorite box. All right, I don't know if I store this under Black Panther or Shuri. It looks like Shuri, good choice. I'm excited to play 2 players with 2 Black Panthers. Yeah, you're allowed to do that. And it's cool. There's Wakanda synergy now in the game, which is something we wanted to see for a while now. All right, nope. This is Black Panther. This looks really cool to me. This seems also much more straightforward. I think it's obvious what the power level of this deck is. We have 11 health, normal 5 hand size, 2/1/2 with stars. 1 attack means that we're going to need our damage from something else, so we have to pay attention to how much damage is in the kit. But 2 thwart is great. 2 defense is also like, it's a bit frustrating because 2 defense is enough that you'd consider defending, but it's like, it's basically saying you can build a defense deck if you really put your mind to it. But like defending for 2 is something you only do in a panic, which is like kind of awkward. But it says after resolving basic power, resolve the special ability on a Black Panther upgrade you control. I will not rest in the defense of my homeland. This is also not once per phase. It's not once per turn or round, which means if you can ready Black Panther, you can fire that ability as many times as you can basic activate. Now, of course, this will mean your attack and your thwart will have a nice kicker into it. We'll find out what those upgrades are, but it also means defending has a kicker. And as a protection player, I love the idea that I can fire more stuff during the villain phase, especially if one of those cards does damage. So we can play Change of Fortune, which we always play Change of Fortune. Backside is Shuri. Shuri Alter Ego. 4 recovery, 11 hit points again. Inventor action, search your deck for a Black Panther or tech upgrade. It's only your deck and play it, reducing its cost by 2. That is so good. That is an absurdly good ability that as long as you're managing your discard pile and your deck and you know what's in your deck and that's left over, this is so much value. Now, of course, you're exhausting. So if you flip up, you can't attack for 1 or thwart for 2. That also means you can't fire your upgrades because you won't be ready. And if you're not ready, you lose value on this side of it. But that is so good. Draw a card and then install it -2. That is a lot of resource gain. That is a lot of resource gain. Search your deck for Black Panther or tech upgrade and play it. It can be a tech upgrade too, so you can just build tech, which is sick. Reducing its resource cost by 2. What happens if you can't play it? Do you just draw a card? Like, what about if I have no cards in hand and I grab a 3-cost upgrade? Am I not allowed to hit that action, or does it just fizzle? I do as much as I can and I go up 1 card. Does it force me to play it is my question. Interesting. But that's just a really strong ability. And I've heard the FFG designers talking about, like, we want you to go to Alter Ego because we want Alter Ego to be that interesting. This is a very interesting effect. T'Challa. T'Challa again. 4-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. After T'Challa uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on a Black Panther upgrade you control. So same text as Black Panther Shuri. That's really good. I have no doubt you're going to play sidekick versions of this. I'm assuming those upgrades are really good, but the stats on this are expensive, but I have no doubt that's going to pay off really well. I don't think you want to block with T'Challa because the last attack or last thwart fires that ability before T'Challa succumbs to consequential, but very, very strong. Seems like a workhorse. It's just kind of like either of the minions in the decks and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box, like Maria Hill and Nick Fury. They're just really good in that deck. Clawed Strike. Deal 4 damage for 2 to an enemy. Resolve the special ability on 1 Black Panther upgrade. Classic FFG design. It's a 2 for 4 that has a kicker. This is good. I hope that we have at least 3 of these. We do. Oh, we only have 2 of these. That's still fine. But with 1 attack, you're definitely going to need a bit more damage. I'm assuming some of the upgrades do damage. That would be symmetrical to the old Black Panther. This seems totally fine. Also, these cards get really flexible if your upgrades do thwarting or something else. The fact this becomes like 2 for 4 and then 1 thwart or 2 thwart, whatever the upgrades do, make them a lot better. Because a lot of times you need a mixed thing when you're playing solo more than you just need slightly more damage. But I have no doubt we have a choice. On the Prowl, 2 copies. These are not typed. They're not superpowers or anything. 2 for remove 3 threat, resolve the special ability on a Black Panther upgrade. So threat, I think classically is valued more than attack damage. Is that true? I always forget what it is. Yeah, fine. Seems good. We do have a Wakanda Forever. We only have 1 Wakanda Forever. Resolve the special upgrade on each Black Panther upgrade you control in any order. Is that literally the same text? Resolve the special ability on each Black Panther upgrade at your control in any order. That is sick. It also has the wild icon. All the original Wakanda Forevers, I think they had different icons. I think only one of them had the wild. So we get the best one. It's more than a battle cry. It's a promise from Black Panther. Okay, that's sick. It's really cool that that stayed into the kit as a bit of an homage. We'll see how good the upgrades are. It looks like we can get them a bit more consistently too. We have Vibranium. Let's see how many we have. Just a double with wilds. Really flexible. Good for removing attachments, but you like wilds, that's for sure. We have the Elephant's Trunk. This is a support persona. It's Wakanda traded. Alter Ego, exhaust the Elephant's Trunk and up to 2 other Wakanda allies and supports you control. So far, we've seen none, besides this, but you're already exhausting it. Draw a card for each card exhausted this way, including this one. So the original Black Panther had an Alter Ego upgrade or a support that just said draw 2 cards. This can be 3 cards if you exhaust 2 other things. So it's up to us to see how many Wakanda allies we want to leave on the table. I don't know what the Wakanda allies look like. This deck definitely has a bunch of Wakanda allies, but this is a very good Alter Ego action. If you use your ability to install something and then draw like 3 and then flip up, you're probably in a good spot. We'll see if this kit has any readies, because I do think you would actually really want a ready effect in Black Panther Shuri, because you want to be able to fire the 2 like upgrades, let alone you want to use the backside of the Alter Ego Shuri, flip up, and then use the hero side is my guess. That seems fine. Honestly, in solo, it's a lot harder to use, but that is a very good payoff as long as you have the cards to support it. Queen Ramonda, another Wakanda card, which is good. Support, exhaust Queen Ramonda, heal damage from an Alter Ego with the Wakanda trait equal to that Alter Ego's recovery. Yeah, fine. Feels like they keep printing these cards. They're not bad. They're okay. It means you can flip down, you can heal a bunch, but like Aurora's Garden out of 10. It's okay. This is better than Aurora's Garden. It's trait locked to Wakanda. It works well if you're playing multiplayer with 2 Black Panthers, but I'm never excited about these sort of cards. They're not bad though. Aja Adana? Aja Adana, title. I love title cards. Exhaust Aja Adana. Shuffle 1 identity-specific card from your discard pile into your deck. This is not an Alter Ego action. I really like incidental recursion. I like incidental recursion a lot. It has to be an identity specific card, but that gives you good choices at what you put back into your deck. This is really important because it means if you got rid of an upgrade, and I do think the upgrades can destroy themselves, you can you can get it back into your deck, then you can flip down with Shuri and go grab that upgrade back, which means that you'll always have access to that upgrade on every turn if the upgrades matter. This also means you can shuffle back things like your Vibranium, because they are technically, you know, your cards, Wakanda Forever, more damage, more threat. It's only 1 cost, which is pretty cheap, and you'll use it every turn. Again, it just makes your deck thicker, so you can play your best cards more than normal, which is great. All right, welcome to some Black Panther tech upgrades. Camellia Beads. 2 costs, remove 1 threat from a scheme. You may discard this card to confuse an enemy, and that's the special ability. So this doesn't do anything. You need to fire the special ability. So far, we can only do that with 1 copy of Wakanda Forever, our basic activations, and the Black Panther ally. This is remove a threat, which is fine. Discard this to confuse is also very powerful, and that's really good in a deck that can actually confuse lock the villain really well, is my guess, because you can always like fire this, flip down, get it back into your deck with Aja Adana, and then replay it for free, and then they'll be confused. This deck looks like it has a pretty nasty recursion loop. I am worrying that this is going to have that sort of like optimal play pattern that is boring, which some heroes kind of do. I'm looking at you, Maria. But yeah, this seems, as long as you can bring this back cheaply and consistently, and it looks like we can, you can get that confused lock going. So we'll see if there's other costs associated with it. The way I think of Queen Ramonda is that it saves you at very activations of defending, recovering, very strong card. Oh, it's definitely not bad. And that's the thing is like, I think we're going to tank damage because our 2 defense stat is not very good. I don't know if we're going to be super ally heavy, but it's like, it means that you're not exhausting to recover. You're exhausting to do the backside of Shuri or your front side, which fires your upgrades, which is also very valuable, especially when like, if we want to fire the confused, we have to exhaust Black Panther, which means if we flip down, we can use Queen Ramonda to heal instead. Like it's fine. It's definitely not bad. There's no shot it's bad. Panther Claws. God, I've been talking too much too straight in a row. My voice is feeling it. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. You may discard this card to deal 3 additional damage to an enemy. This attack gains piercing. Not likely to discard this card. I feel like if I'm discarding this card, I'm in a really bad spot. But just dealing 2 damage attached to any of our activations is really good. This functionally makes Shuri have 3 attack, and you can deal 2 damage to a different enemy. So you can attack for one with Black Panther. That technically will take the piercing because you attack a toughness, and then you can do 2 damage with the Panther Claws. This doesn't seem like a good enough benefit to discard this upgrade because then you lose the upgrade until you cycle through your deck or flip down or Aja Dana redraw it. But it confuses much better. But that's a better, like, flat special. Special since she doesn't like to chump block if she's running Dora Milaje. I don't know what that is, but we'll find out for sure. Spider Bites. These are also like super symmetrical to the original Black Panther cards, which is really cool. Choose a player. Deal 1 damage to the villain. I can read it here. And each minion engaged with that player, you may discard this card to stun each of those characters. So it's your sweeper, it's your little AoE, which we had in Black Panther. The stun is pretty valuable. I'm assuming the confuse might be a bit more valuable because to return these cards very aggressively, you want to jump to alter ego. And it looks like we do have good alter ego supports. But that's not that bad. That's 1 damage. I'm assuming we rarely will use this. That was the thing about the original Black Panther is because you did all of your things. It just mattered the order you did them. But generally now with Shuri, you're going to have to only pick one of these to do. This doesn't seem like the one I want to do unless we really need the stun because we can't flip down for some reason. Maybe there's a stalwart or a steady. But the other ones looked a bit better so far. Vibranium Suit. Does this one move damage? That would be perfect. Vibranium Suit Shuri. Move 1 damage from your hero to an enemy. You may discard this to give yourself a tough status card. That's really good. Move 1 damage is a really good ability. That heals you in hero mode, which is incredibly rare in this game, and it just does damage. Technically, this gets a bit awkward because I use dice to do health, not damage, so we'll still figure it out, but that's one of the reasons where moving damage is easier if you use tokens than dice. That's really good. Tough status cards also kind of fine. All our upgrades cost 2, so you do want to play some doubles, and we have some Vibraniums. We'll see if they put doubles in the deck. I'm assuming they did. Maybe they didn't with the Vibraniums. I hope they did. This kit looks really good. It looks fine. It looks flexible. The fact that Shuri's ability will fire on any activation means you can build a defense deck, you can build an attack deck, you can build a thwart deck. I feel like any faction could play this really well, or any aspect. This seems way more straightforward and way more obvious. I worry that we're going to get those like confuse lock patterns where we flip down, recur, replay, jump up, confuse lock, jump down, and that might be a big rating, but so far this kit looks really competent. All right. There's some really cool Justice cards. We Manifold, Wakanda traded, which is sick. Also Avenger traded, which is cool. Stats are fine. 2 health is a bit low. 2 thwarts fine. After Manifold enters play, choose a player. That player searches their deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and adds it to their hand. Yeah, that's an ability I don't think we've seen on a card yet. And that is an ability that when Lord of the Rings LCG added side schemes, this was a very good minion, if I'm not mistaken, or even there was heroes that did that. Or sorry, allies, not minions. That seems good. It's cool that you can toolbox this. I'm not sure if I'd play this in Cable. I don't think you need it in Cable. I think you just play so many side schemes that you're happy with whatever side scheme you draw. But if you're playing a deck that has a single side scheme, that getting it as soon as possible is important, I would play this. But the stats are fine. Wakanda synergy might actually matter, but interesting. I'm surprised we hadn't seen a card like this sooner. I don't think we've seen any ally that interacts with player side schemes. There's a lot of allies that work with schemes really well. This is a card that feels like an aggression card, but it's not. It's still really neat, especially because one of the next cards coming up. There's this whole like sub theme in the set about pulling out allies in Justice and making them work for you, which is really cool. 1 cost thwart event, choose a number between 1 and 5, discard that many cards from the top of the encounter deck, remove a threat from a scheme for each card discarded this way. So this is, you know, damaging to the deck because getting cards out of the encounter deck means you're faster to acceleration icons. If you win fast enough, it doesn't matter. But it's 1 for 5, which is good. Then, however, you have to pull 1 minion discarded this way into play engaged with you. That's not the worst. Justice has a couple tools that want to deal with minions. Not too many, but a couple tools. There's some like cool psionic tools that you can get access to if you want to. There's some definitely cool tools in the rest of this pack. Now, the minion is put into play. It's not revealed, so that does still mean you get quick striked, but you don't do any nasty when revealed stuff, which can really matter. But a 1 for 5 is totally fine, as much as you're doing damage to the deck. This is the sort of card that I think Aggression has cards like this, and they're like so important because so much of Aggression's deck, unfortunately, really cares about minions, but they don't have consistent ways. They feel consistent to get minions on the table. I feel like if we had a card like this that removes a bunch of threat and then grabs a minion from the discard pile, and then you have some choices, that would be a really good Aggression card, but I'm interested to see where this will see play. It's a 1 for 5, which is like definitely very good, but you need a, like, this is another card that seems a bit better in multiplayer, where I can like get the minion and then your aggression deck across the table can deal with it. Going undercover. I do not like this art, and not because it's bad art, it's just like the vibe is pretty off. Victory 0, cost nothing, 4 threat. The defeating player looks at the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. They may add one non-scenario specific card from among those to the victory display, then place the rest of them on the top and or bottom of the encounter deck in any order. So this is 4 threat to get a card out of the game, which is not an effect I super value in this game. In other games like Arkham Horror, there's a bunch of encounter sets that scale with the amount of copies of that card in the play, in the victory area, stuff like that. There's a lot of, like, it's a common trope in Arkham Horror to have a card that says, if this is the 3rd copy of this that enters a certain area, a bad thing happens, a giant monster spawns. I don't think we have anything like that in Marvel Champions, if I'm not mistaken. So removing a card from the deck, like only Shadow of the Past, if you're playing in Standard, is like that big of an issue. I don't know why I would play this. I don't know. There are technically certain setups, like if you play Cable, some of Cable's Nemesis set is really, really bad because it scales with the amount of cards in the victory display. Now, admittedly, you're adding other cards to the victory display, but with Cable, you can maybe get one of those cards out of the deck. Maybe you can get a minion out of the deck that shows up a whole bunch, like in the Armadillo set, for instance, or any of those like built around one minion decks. If you can get rid of that big minion, you do diffuse a bunch of those cards. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they check the victory display to add them back. But this is definitely a mystery to me. I'm not sure I put this much effort to remove a card from the game. That being said, like putting cards on the bottom of the deck, whatever. Putting cards on the top of the deck in your order, that has mattered, especially if you're playing around certain, you know, like we lose to a scheme, we lose to a 3 boost, stuff like that, especially on higher difficulties. Like manipulating the top of the deck is like pretty valuable. I just feel like there's a lot more straightforward ways, like blindfold or some of the shield cards that allow you to manipulate the top of the deck. So very strange. I don't rank that too high, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Show of Empathy, also 0 cost. 6 threat, but the threat on this actually doesn't really matter because when threat is removed from the scheme, place that threat on a non-elite minion. If that minion has threat on it equal to or greater than its remaining hit points, you add this immediately to the victory display and add one set-aside copy of Redemption to that minion. I'm not sure what happens when you play this in Mojo, where having threat on things is actually really bad for you, but the idea is that when you clear this, it puts onto a minion. If you hurt the minion, you have to put less threat, but in theory, you can put up to like 6 threat on a minion, I'm pretty sure. And then this gets put aside, and instead you get not the next card. Empathy, not the next card. Why do they hide it? Wait, where's Empathy? Oh, they reprinted Sonic Rifle. Hey, wait, where's the Empathy card? Oh, it's all the way back here, Redemption? Okay, so they didn't put it in the deck. They put it in the back, so you can easily miss this. But now you get this attached to whatever minion you worked on. Take control of the attached minion and treat it as a redeemed ally with a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its printed scheme. It takes 1 consequential damage after it attacks and after it thwarts. There's like a couple ways in this game to take over the control of a minion. This is not a bad way to do it. I think this is really dependent on the scenario and what you're expecting, but there's some like really big minions that getting them, if they're attacking for like 3, that is huge. That's just a lot of value for you. And then you can chump block with them, of course, like many minions. This is neat. I like this. I think this will be a fun card to play around with. Again, you can do a bit of damage to the minion. It has to be non-elite though, so I'm pretty sure like some of the bigger things like Laufey, I think they're unique. They're definitely, are they elite? Laufey is elite. Is Forearm elite? Forearm is not elite, so you can get a 4 attack, get that 4 booster. So there's some cool things you can do with this for sure. The text is all blank, so you're not going to get anything really cool for it, but it's just going to be basically like a nice way to not only get stats on the table, but it's also like a relatively cheap way to deal with a big minion, right? Like Justice is really good at taking threat off of stuff, not very good at dealing with minions, and I think that's easy to oversell or to undersell, to be like, oh, I'm going to threat this, and then that somehow now Forearm is under my control, and now I have something that can punch other minions that come up. I think that's pretty sick. I like that. This we have to set aside because we're going to need it. Hey, Garrett, how's it going? Mr. Self-Destruct, hello, been absolutely loving your videos. Great to have you in the champion space. Thank you, that's very kind. We've been definitely putting a lot of work into this. I haven't been doing a good job promoting this channel amongst the Marvel Champions community, and I'll be honest, once I make content that I'm like 100% happy with, I'll try and sell it, or not sell it, but like show it off to be like, oh, this is a new channel, but I really appreciate that kind words. That's really cool. Recently got back into Marvel Champs after diving deep into Netrunner over the past year. Been working on some pre-built aspect decks to make the game just a bit quicker to get into. I think you can really do that, Garrett, and like, Some would say this is a downside, some would say this is an upside, but there's a lot of decks that you can just take like the same core and put it into another hero and it'll be fine. There's just a lot of cards that are just like, these are really good justice cards in any deck, these are really good card neutral cards in any deck, and some of those deck combinations can beat the hardest scenarios in the game, right? Like, are you playing your Quinn Carriers, your Avengers Mansion, your Nick Fury, you're playing your Beat Cops in yellow, you're playing your Sonic Rifles, like that package just goes into everywhere and you'll be totally fine. I used to play a lot like that, whereas I would just sit down, quickly build a deck in 10 minutes by like going through a binder and picking my favorite cards. Sometimes I'd find a synergy point that it really speaks to me from the hero. So for instance, I want to be able to ready Black Panther because Black Panther fires abilities when Black Panther she taps to do things. So I think it's a reasonable way to challenge stuff for sure. I'm guessing because it's technically not a card in your deck. Yeah, but I thought they'd put it behind it. Maybe they did want you to shuffle it into. I think that makes some sense. Iron Man face the pass into Whiplash, then show of empathy, 3 attack ally. Face the pass is really cool. Is Whiplash not elite? Not elite? Yeah. There's some really big ones you can get. I think there's nothing bigger than forearm for a basic attack. I don't think anyone attacked harder from 4, which is just really fun flavor, especially because it's one of the few 4 boost cards in the whole game. All right, this is one of my favorite cards that they put out in a while. I haven't played it, but oh my god, is this flavorful? Is it fun? Is it build around? This is just so cool. This is the Raft, which is like the prison island off of the coast of New York in the Spider-Man world, if I'm not mistaken. After a minion leaves play, you can choose to tuck it underneath here from the counter discard pile, so all when defeated things remove, all that sort of stuff happens. Then you can remove threat from a scheme equal to the tucked minion's printed scheme. So the bigger thing that you can defeat with a higher scheme, and most minions I think have higher attack than scheme unscientifically, you can remove from a scheme. Then if there are at least 4 minions here, there's a bit of a breakout. So deal 1 random minion here to a player as a face down encounter card. Now it is random, but you'll technically know what it is because obviously there was 5 cards and now there's 4 and you can piece it together. It's a pretty subtle puzzle. But that means a couple things. It means that there always will be a minion in play if you're playing against a deck that wants minion synergy, and there's a whole bunch of justice cards that want minions. If you're playing somebody like, I would love to have this if my partner is playing justice and I'm playing like aggression Nick Fury. Like this is just such a cool, flavorful card. It's a mechanic card. It's really interesting because there's a bit of risk rewards to it. Who's going to break out of the prison? This is just like such a cool design of a card in any card game. 10 out of 10. Great. Is it the best thing in the slot? Honestly, I don't know, but there's definitely going to be certain decks and certain multiplayer compositions where this is like the biggest star of the show. So cool. Genuinely just the coolest card. Invisibility gear? Okay. Play under any player's control. So that's the text I was looking for. Max 1 per player. When an enemy would attack you, discard invisibility gear. It schemes instead. I like the opposite version of this more. I'm less worried about being attacked, more worried about scheming. That being said, if you have confuses and you're, like a pretty fragile justice hero, this could make some amount of sense. It is a tech, which is nice. It's not a preparation. This feels like it would be a preparation, but it definitely isn't. But this is an interrupt. It's not forced. So you can always decide not to do this. That's okay. That means you can stay in hero mode if you have low health and then just say you'll scheme a bit. And if you have, a lot of threat mitigation, if you have an under surveillance on the table to deal with the threat thresholds and improve them, that can maybe not be the worst. But the opposite is the card ready for a fight I'm way more excited about. Sonic Rifle, card's really good. If you look at the stun gun, this one's so much better. It's more expensive, but you get 2 confuses. I don't think, okay, maybe once or twice have I ever dealt 3 damage to an enemy. One of the older packs, I'm not sure who, I think Psylocke. There's also like Float Like a Butterfly. There's a whole synergy package about attacking and getting more value if you just have a lot of confused enemies in play. There's also a couple allies that interact favorably with Confuse, but this is just a very powerful card. It's one of the cards that I splash with aspect advantage and stuff like that if I can. Just very, very good card. Sting Operation, fun flavor. Max 1 per player. After a non-elite minion schemes, discard Stinger Operation, discard that minion. This works obviously really well with the Raft. It says discard that minion. What is the text on Raft? So the Raft says after a minion leaves play, so it doesn't have to be defeated. So this actually works together, which is nice. Now this is not replacing the scheming, so they will still scheme. So if you have one of those minions that has like a really high attack but really low threat or really low scheming, like a Rhino. As long as, no, Rhino might be elite. I don't know Rhino from City and Chaos if it's elite. No, Rhino's elite. Okay. But there's definitely cards that fall into that camp. Like we talked about Forearm. You could just Sting Operation Forearm and don't care. Scheming, you technically do scheme for 0. If you have a dash, you don't, but a 0 does count. This card's neat. It's preparation. It's a tactic. Those are both reasonable traits that some people care about. And now I think we're getting to the synergy package of Wakanda cards. Oh my god, it's already 4 o'clock. We haven't played a game. I thought this would be so much faster. Nika, Dora Milaje, Wakanda, 3 cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Not bad. After Anika uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on another Dora Milaje ally. Dora Milaje? Sorry, I don't know how to say that. I don't think we've seen any so far. Like, T'Challa isn't, so I'm not sure what that is, but its special says remove 1 threat from a scheme, so I'm assuming they're synergistic. We have Io, same idea, same stats as well, and this is deal 1 damage to an enemy. So if you have both of these on the table, it looks like their art is connected, of course. When one of them activates, you get to do the special on the other. When the other one activates, you get to do the special on the first. So that means they're attacking for 4, removing a threat, dealing a damage. I'm surprised that one of them doesn't have 2 thwart, one of them doesn't have 2 attack. They're both entirely symmetrical. That's kind of strange to me. I guess they're both are weapon wielders. But interesting package. We'll see if there's more. It looks like there is more. There's a Koye. 4 cost ally, 2/2, 3 health. Not bad stats, a bit expensive. After Okoye uses the basic power, resolve the special ability on another Dora Milaje. So they have to be synergistic. You probably don't want to play one for obvious reasons. And Okoye's special is choose a Wakanda hero or ally. They get +1 thwart and +1 attack. So that actually becomes a bit of a puzzle in the order you want to fire them, especially if you're dealing with toughness and other stuff. But the idea is that you want to do Okoye first and then boost somebody else, and then someone else goes. Actually, no, you want to do someone else first so that you can fire Okoye, because then Okoye's special. It's a bit clumsy, but actually kind of cool. I'm into that. Heart of the Panther. Nope. Wakanda event. It's a team up between Black Panther T'Challa and Black Panther Shuri. Max 1 per deck. Search your deck and discard pile for a Black Panther upgrade and put it into play. Resolve the special ability on up to 4 Black Panther upgrades you control in any order. Powerful. I don't know if I play this solo. I usually take these out of the precons. Actually, no, I don't. The ones that have the minions, it's the allies. You definitely don't take them out, but that's fine. Build support. Alt art. Not this version. I like build support a lot. That's some pretty cool art. I don't know what this is. That art is sick. I'm surprised they reprinted this. I'm happy they reprinted this. That's a really good scheme. We have energy, genius, and strength with the shield theme art. I actually do like them. Shout out specifically to the art on energy just being absolutely bonkers cool. We have a Dora Milaje team card. Dora Milaje. That's all it's called. Wakanda. This is free. Your identity has a Wakanda trait. I believe both sides of Black Panther have the Wakanda trait, so it's free. Exhaust Dora Milaje to resolve the special ability on 1 Dora Milaje ally and heal 1 damage. Oh, that's really good. Because obviously they only last so long, and if you only have 1, their abilities don't work really well. So this is just basically a tap for 1 threat, 1 attack, or giving you a +1/+1 boost, but it heals that ally. That's very good. Right. We have our Nemesis set. It's Klaw. I thought it might be Radioactive Man, but it is Klaw. T'Challa's Shadow. Dora Milaje are the elite warriors that act as a personal bodyguard for the Black Panther. Nick Fury on the Genius just looks like Cyborg from DC. That is the art that is the least good of the 3. I think the strength art is like very interestingly framed. This I believe is Boomerang getting absolutely kicked. I'm not sure by who, and then you see Shocker on the side. This one's the one that's not my least favorite, but this one is just like so striking. I like it a heck of a lot. T'Challa Shadow uses 4 dead counters, victory 0, so it will add to the victory display. Increase the resource cost of each card you play by 1. That's bad. After you thwart, attack, or defend, remove 1 a doubt counter from here. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. It's not game losing. It's pretty bad early in the mid game, and that might not be that bad, but it's it forces you to structure your turn out a bit more, which I like that a lot. I like those sort of cards that don't just ruin the game for you, but the idea is now like, okay, I want to thwart first. I'll play this expensive event first, and then you'll deal with this. I'm assuming this will stay for at least 1 turn. Nemesis Klaw. I imagine it has the same text. Scheme for 2, 6 health. When Klaw attacks, give another boost card, 3 boost icons. Sick. Like Klaw a lot. I think Klaw is one of the coolest scenarios. Klaw never becomes... Klaw is always like really good fun. Manipulated music. When revealed, find music and put her into play engage with you. When defeated, discard music from play. So maybe music can't leave play. The art is pretty terrifying. It has an amplify icon, 5 threat. This is music. Music is a 1 health. When revealed, captive, find manipulated music and to put into play. So either of these will bring the other into play, which I think they matter. When defeated, move all threat from manipulated music to the main scheme. Whoa. 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 That's cool. So you probably want to deal with this first, but this also has an amplify icon. This looks horrendous. As like what's going on here in the story, I don't know, but that looks really, really rough. I like this a lot. That's a really cool Nemesis set. We have the Scream. Edward Munch, Uvirdo. When revealed, stun each character you control. Deal 1 damage to each of those characters that are already stunned. Very cool, very thematic. I think that's music on the left side, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like we have a couple copies of this. You're pretty used to like a little sweeper attack, I think, from Klaw, but stunning during the encounter phase is like pretty common for Klaw. All right, White Wolf, leadership ally, 3 cost, 2 thwart, 2 consequential, 2 attack, no consequential. It's a Wakanda ally. Forced response after White Wolf attacks, place 1 threat on the main scheme. That's forced. I like that. That's not bad. That's a infinite attack forever as long as you can do thwart. A bit of threat mitigation. I think that is totally fine. We have target spotter. 1 cost. Uses 2 target counters as a persona and a shield card. Having shield cards, cheap shield cards, really matters for Maria Hill. When a minion would engage a player, remove a target counter from here. That minion cannot activate until the end of the phase. Engage that minion. Probably matters a bit more for multiplayer, especially if you're like Thor and you want the minions engaged with you so you can draw cards. I think that works. Big thing about this is like there are certain encounter setups, especially if you're playing standard 3, where if your villain comes into play and attacks you, you can lose the game if your villain has really bad numbers or really bad stats. So for instance, like if you play standard 3 and you have Taskmaster and Taskmaster enters play, Taskmaster can suddenly attack you if you get this again during the boost of the villain activation, and then Taskmaster is attacking you for like 10. That's obviously a problem. You can always chump block. I think the big thing is a lot of these preparation sets also have like ways to stun minions when they enter play. Like, well, Black Widow has a whole bunch of them, so not super useful. But I think this is a toolbox card for if there are any minions that come out, if they're a problem. Now, when a minion would engage a player, I don't know if this beats Quick Strike or not. I'm assuming it does, but I think a bunch of the other cards that seem like they would beat Quick Strike don't beat Quick Strike. So I'm not sure the order there. We have Heart of the Panther, another team up. Cool. And then we have another set here of cards to be added to the Thunderbolt set. We have Joystick. 17 health, Villainous Victory. When Joystick activates against you, choose to give her an additional boost card for activation and draw a card. Give her a tough stats card. Yeah, I'll draw a card. Thank you, I'll draw a card. It's 1 Villainous, so that can be up to like 7 damage potentially. This is fine. I don't think you can give her a tough status card if she has a tough status card. I think this is a Daredevil type character, as in like a physical Daredevil, like a stunt person. But yeah, interesting. Definitely not Atlas. We have Energy Truncheons. Fun word. Attached to Joystick, otherwise to the villain. Gains piercing +1 attack. Attached to enemy attacks you as a hero action. After that attack, discard this and draw 1 card. They really want you to draw cards. I kind of like drawing cards. Interesting. Playing for keeps. Well, it's also cool to use as a more normal modular set. Yeah, I believe it. I think that's actually really interesting. Each identity gets +1 hand size. I mean, okay. When an enemy activates, gives it a boost card for that activation in addition to other boost cards. So it makes everybody claw. Sometimes it's not the worst, honestly. It depends on your setup and if you're blocking with minions. If you're blocking with minions, this is actually probably just an upside if you're chump blocking constantly. Because chump blocking, it really doesn't matter the boost icons usually. So I could see you wanting to keep this around. And then we have the titular card, Extreme Risk. 2 copies of this. It says, when revealed, find Joystick, put into play, they activate. So these are all the same. Joystick seems fine. Not super interesting. Fine. You're going to draw some cards. I don't really, it's like a risk reward thing, which I think is kind of the idea of it. And I think that does come through, which I appreciate, but definitely not Atlas. All right. With that, let me just clean up these sleeves and we're going to play. I didn't realize that would take as long as it did, but we'll dive into play our first precon of Black Panther. Give me 1 second. These should be out. What has everyone thought about these so far? I have not been in the discussion. Have people really liked one of these heroes more than the other? Is there like any traps that I'm going to fall into? So this is our obligation. This is us. We have 11 health. That's correct. We'll start here. We'll set aside our Nemesis set. I have a bit too much garbage here, but we have to go fast. Shadow of the Empath is in our deck, or Shadow of Empathy. This is our deck. Totally fine. I'll put our copy of Redemption aside out of play. And then I keep these for some reason. I don't know why I keep those. This is here. Okay, so we're going to play against Black Widow. I think we're just going to play against basic Black Widow. Oh, there's so many cards with Black Widow. So I think we're going to just play on standard. I do think you can beat Expert sometimes with a Precon deck. I want to be very clear. The pre-constructed decks are like They're okay. Some are bad. Some are actually good. They're definitely way better. Like as soon as you just change 2 or 3 cards, the decks can be better. One of the problems they have with the precons is they have to put 3 of cards that you can't put 3 ofs, because they don't put like 2 copies of Sting Operation and then 1 in the side deck at the back of the deck. I kind of wish they did that. They just say here are 3 copies of Sting Operation. Should your deck have 3 copies of Sting Operation? No, probably not. Luckily with this game, your cards you can pitch for resources. So it's if you draw a bad hand, then it can be really bad, but you'll just be happy throwing these out. So a lot of the times these decks where there's 3 ofs of cards that shouldn't be 3 ofs, you can change them. A lot of times if they're like unique resource generators, or not like unique by title, but unique by limit 1 per player, then you should make some simple changes. It's really easy to make simple changes to make the precons like functional. We're still just going to play it as is, because I have played every single precon against I think I've taken every time a new hero comes out, I take the precon and play a whole campaign against them. And I don't think I've ever had a scenario where I can't beat the campaign on standard. Expert is a different question for sure, but should have no problem, I'm hoping, to deal with Black Widow. Community reaction so far has been that Silk is better than expected. Cool if managing the tuck cards with eidetic memory, and reflex tucking on defense was a sleeper. Yeah, going plus cards with the reflex seems really good. That's the only way you can go plus cards underneath you, which seems important. I do think it looks like a lot of work. The payoff doesn't seem to be there, so I'm excited to see if that's the case. And I think as soon as I attack for like 6, I'm like, wait a second, I'll be like, wait, this is kind of cool. But like, I do think it's very easy to look at Shuri to be like, okay, I understand what the game wants me to do with this. Especially also because this precon seems to like to have a lot more inherent synergy. It like has the Dora Milaje package. It has, you know, the cheap tech cards, which you technically can search. Like you can grab your invisibility gear if you want to using Shuri's ability. We're definitely not going to. Shuri Black Panther is goated. Having support that draws you 3 cards with identity specific and Dora Milaje is bonkers. Okay, so you are building into that, even in solo. That's good to know. I just don't know how many cards we have with the trait, especially in the precon. I'm assuming we have a lot because they all came out together. All right. It's Black Widow. Does this button work? All right, Black Widow. This is way more important to keep in mind if you are playing Silk. We have Aim Abduction, which is going to be a couple minions. We have to start with a minion in play, and then we have Aim Science as well. So the deck is not super big. We're going to start with our main scheme, which is the Widow's Web. Oh, I have to pull this in. Cool. Black Widow's going to start with only 13 health. And we start with the Widow's Web. All right, the Widow's Web says, Black Widow 2 and 3. We've seen all the sets. We're going to be playing on standard 3, not on standard. I like standard 3. It means we probably will face the music sooner than later. Each player searches the counter deck for a minion and puts it into play, engage with them. Notably, this is puts into play, engage with them. It's not when revealed. I think every time I've done this, I've grabbed the same minion. I think Quick Strike does fire, but I'm not 100% sure. But I've always just gone on the way to take one of these like annoying scientists. Like I'll just take this Aim Abduction. I think that's the villain we're going to grab, or sorry, the minion we're going to grab. And that's because this thing has an annoying when revealed, and we just beat that. So this is when revealed, tuck the ally you control with the most remaining hit points underneath this, and that means this won't happen because we don't reveal it. It has 4 attack. I'm not sure if we can do 4 attack on turn 1. We have events that can do that, but with our basic activation, I think we want to use Shuri's ability on turn 1 to go grab one of our upgrades. I don't think we're going to attack for 1 or thwart for 2. And we flip over the Widow's Web. The backside of this says, comes in with 2 threat. Did I break it? No, there it is. This gets 1 per stage, which means when you're playing on standard, it's only 1 per turn. That's not that bad. Of course, you track the missing shield specialist to decommission stretch of subway tunnels and discover her kidnapper's base of operations. So we're only going up 1 per phase. This has 10, which is relatively okay for solo. And this is the only scheme. So if this is, we lose this, we lose the game. We do a quick shuffle. I'll pull up Black Widow 1. Been a while since I played against Black Widow 1. So Black Widow's text, I think, stays pretty consistent across all the different stages. So only attacking for 1, scheming for 2, but force interrupt. When a character you control attacks Black Widow, you have to remove a threat from the main scheme. That's a cost. So if there's no threat on the main scheme, you don't do the rest of this ability. Then you discard the top card of the counter deck and resolve each preparation ability on the card. The deck is relatively thin, and the majority of the cards are Black Widow cards, I think. There's like 19 Black Widow cards. There's like 10 aim cards, 7 cards from... So it's a bit more than half. 7 cards from standard. So it's likely to hit something here, but not all the Black Widow cards have preparations. A bunch of the attachments will really matter because they come in and make that worse. They say like every card has a preparation ability. Our goal is just to keep the threat down. we can really like slow roll it for the beginning because Black Widow attacking for 1, it's not really that bad for us. So I think we will. All right. Just gonna put the mouse aside and then we should be good to go. Let's shuffle. Let's give our first shot here at some Shuri. My coffee's got so cold, I totally forgot it existed. We were doing our speed unboxing. I can't believe that's so time intensive. I thought it would take like 20 minutes. I have to go to a Flesh and Blood pre-release tonight, which I'm pretty excited for. Those don't happen that often, and that means like we have to be out of here by 5:30. All right, so Shuri's text here. Now Shuri, is that right? Yeah. It says search your deck. So we can't like aggressively mulligan to get our upgrades in our discard pile. So there are 4 Black Panther upgrades, as much as this can be any tech upgrade. I don't know what we want to prioritize, so we're going to find out together. So let's see what we draw. We draw up to 6, of course. First card, Infiltration. I think we're not going to keep that. This, we don't really have a lot of threat to do. I don't want to discard 2 cards. 1 for 2 is like fine, but I'm going to put this in a no camp. I want to see more into the deck. Next card is Sting Operation. In theory, we could stay Alter Ego. We could. After non-elite minion schemes, discard that minion. Notice that this also discards a minion, not defeats a minion. When it comes to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's a bunch of minions that say when defeated doing something bad. So this actually has a bit more legs in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We also get Show of Empathy. I might just keep this so that we have this. I don't know if there's any good hits in the set, but it costs nothing. So I would put that in a maybe we'll keep this. It's not the most flashy card. I don't know if there's any big minions in this deck. It's actually probably bad. I think there's only really small minions, especially nothing with big health. So we probably actually don't keep this. Let's be honest. Strength, yeah, it's strength. I'm not gonna pull up strength. It's just a double. We have invisibility gear. Okay, so the precon has been really precon so far. So we're just drawing a lot of these cards that we don't really care about. So that's 5. 6th card is, okay, yeah, precon out of 10. So we'll throw out all of these yellow cards and hopefully draw into some of our own cards. So we're gonna get Genius, fine. We have no resource generators in the kit, I don't think. We can get Okoye down on turn 1. That could be all of our resources there. So not great on its own, but it's nice probably to have a Dora Milaje card, especially if we get the healing thing. We have Io. I shuffled this deck, right? That's another Dora Milaje, cost 3. We have a Vibranium. That's pretty good. And we didn't draw a tech upgrade, but we drew Heart of the Panther. So Heart of the Panther, we have to kind of keep. We can't play it, though. I don't want to keep it in our hand, but we have some resources here. So I'm assuming with Shuri, we're going to use Shuri's text here to search our deck. If we want to play our hand, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 for Okoye, then we can do 3 for Io. Then we actually can have 2 Dora Milaje cards in play, and they have some synergy packages. Now, our ability won't fire if we flip down. I think Aim Abductor attacking for 2 is also kind of fine, but I'm going to use Shuri here. So we'll search our deck for a Black Panther tech upgrade. Yeah, that's a pretty good, honest opening hand. I wanted to draw some of our supports. I wanted to draw the Dora Milaje support card itself so I can heal them, but like getting these 2 on the table, like drawing 1 would be kind of bad, but they synergize really well. So our Black Panther upgrades, I'm going to go for the Black Panther upgrades. It can just be a tuck upgrade. So we have the Vibranium suit, which is the move 1 card, move 1 damage, which at this point is not that great. We can do the 1 damage AoE, which is fine. I'm okay taking probably the thwarting one. The thwarting one just says remove 1 threat, and we can discard this to confuse. Black Widow, you want to deal with the threat, that's for sure, because the more that you deal with the threat, the less text Black Widow has. So I think that's the easiest one for us to start with, just because we're probably not going to do a lot of thwarting on turn 1. So I'm just going to grab that. Once you know the deck more and you built your own deck, you'll probably have a better choice here, but I'm just going to pick the one that seems straightforward. So we actually end up playing this, right? Play, reduce the cost by 2. That's so good. We don't have to like exhaust this thing or anything, just like in the other Black Panther, because they don't actually exhaust. And then I'm going to dump 1, 2, 3 for Io and 4 for Okoye. So we've used more than half of our resources. We have these on the table. That's 6 health of allies. We can actually clear up the Aim Abductor, I think, if we want to. Let's just read their text to be familiarized with them, because I'm not super familiar. That's the problem, is I have to cover the text boxes in theory. So Okoye is the expensive one. She says after it uses a basic power, resolve its special ability on another Dora Milaje. It says choose Wakanda hero or ally. They get +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. Not very good right now, because it would only be to Io, but wait. Whoa, wait, how does this work? It's another person. So we actually can't really do this. Because, okay, so say that we use Io. So we exhaust Io to use the basic ability. Say we attack for 2. Then we deal 1 damage to an enemy. Okay. But no, after you exhaust Io, you have to do an ability on a different Dora Milaje, which means if we fire the ability of Okoye, there's no Wakanda hero ally to get this effect, because they're all exhausted. Wait, what? This doesn't work. This functionally doesn't work. What am I doing it wrong? So if we use IO, we can choose an ability on another Dora. So we use Okoye, but because we're exhausted and because our other Dora is exhausted, Okoye's text is useless. So currently they're just allies. Their text doesn't matter. Now, if we do Okoye first, I guess the order doesn't really matter. If we do Okoye first, we can ping a damage from IO. Unfortunately, the damage doesn't really matter. So I'm assuming they'll both attack for 4 and we'll take 1 damage to Black Widow. Okoye can trigger herself. I don't think she can. It says it uses a basic power, resolve the special on another Dora Milaje. Well, it's after. So after you use the basic ability, you can't buff yourself, right? Wait, what am I getting? What am I? I don't get it. You can give Okoye to hero. That I get, but we're exhausted this turn because we did all our alter ego. I'd be really happy to do it. But Okoye can target themselves, but... Oh, wait. You're right. Okay. So the idea is that we use IO. IO attacks for thwarts for 1, let's say. Then we use Okoye to target Okoye. And then Okoye uses their ability to attack for 3, and then IU fires this. Okay, so it does work. It's clumsy. It's not intuitive. I have to take a while to get around this. Okay, so we're going to flip up. Our text here doesn't really matter. I think I put it under Shuri. Let me check. So Shuri, Black Panther, yeah. So again, it says... This is not going to not be confusing. Shuri, hero. After Black Panther uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on Black Panther. Okay, so that doesn't matter. So the idea here is we're going to use IO first. So we're actually going to thwart for 1, taking 1 consequential, and that'll do 1 here. And it says after IO uses a basic power, resolve the special ability on another Dora Milaje. So then we'll use Okoye's special ability, which says choose a Wakanda hero or ally. So Okoye will pick herself. They get +1 thwart and attack until the end of the phase. Then we're going to attack with Okoye, which will do 3 damage because her stats are buffed. That will do 3 to this. And then we fire the special on another Dora Milaje. So we do IO, and then IO deals 1 damage to an enemy, defeating the aim abducted. Okay, we got there. We got there. It's not the way that you think it'd work. You think it's usually, you know, they fire their own text, but the teamwork thing is really cute. I'll struggle with that for a moment, that's for sure. It's weird, but it works. Yeah, it does work. Okay. I'm glad that it worked. I'd be frustrated if it doesn't work with 2 allies. Yeah, that is... I'm upset that was as tricky as it was, but we'll be fine. All right, we drop to 5. We have a rifle. That's not a bad card to get. We have Panther Claws, so that's the 2 damage one. I think that's another one we want to get on the table as soon as possible. We have the Elephant's Trunk. That is our alter ego to draw ability. So we could always discard the Kyogo beads, the Kimoyo beads, to confuse and jump down if we wanted to. Another infiltration, I don't think we're going to care about that. And then we have Clawed Strike, which is 4 damage and do the special, which can confuse, let alone do a threat. So this goes to 2. Didn't mean to hit that. Black Widow attacks. Black Widow doesn't have text when Black Widow's attacking. It's just for 1 in a card. We could technically block here, and if we block here, we get to fire our special ability. However, I don't want to block here because I want Okoye to boost our stats, I think. I think we're going to flip down this turn. I don't think we're going to confuse Black Widow. I think we're just going to flip down because Black Panther's ability is so good. So we're probably going to use Okoye to scheme and then not care. I think we're going to try and flip down with Wakanda allies and or supports. Okay, so not this, which is not Wakanda. Because we can draw a lot of cards if we exhaust Okoye and Io. I think we're just going to take this. It's just 1 in a card. How bad could that be? It's not bad. It's 1 damage. So Pursued by the Past gets 1. We take 1. Encounter card is Attack Acrobatics. This one's bad. I've died to this before. So it says, when revealed, if you're in alter ego form, change the hero form. Black Widow attacks you, give an additional boost card. So we could consider blocking for this one. If we block for this one, we could discard our Kimoyo beads to get 1 threat off and a confuse. I'm not sure if we need to do that. This is a bit of damage. We could block for 2. I think blocking for 2 and firing Kimoyo beads is also kind of fine. What are we doing with this hand, though? Not a lot, honestly. We could just like play the Sonic Rifle and then hold on to our Panther Claws and still flip down. I think the Elephant's Trunk is a more interesting card overall. The Panther Claws, once it's in a discard pile, we can't get it back, but kind of hard. So this is 1 and 2 boost cards. So the most it can be is 7 damage. That won't ruin us, but that's obviously not good. I don't want to block with them because they're obviously a really good pair. So like when we exhaust, we only block for 2. It's not that good. Like we heal for 3. We might as well not block. I'm not going to block. I don't care. This has 3 boosts on it, which means we can't draw it, right? 1, 2, 3, covert ops, 4, 5 damage. We take 5. We lost a minion. We don't have Retaliate. That's the other Black Panther. And then it's back to us. Okay, this is going to be cool. So how do we figure out what to do here? Unfortunately, we have a 5 hand size and no resource generators in this kit, so it's really hard to play expensive cards like Sonic Rifle. Like 5 hand size is just really bad with 3 cost cards, because if I play one of these, I'm left with 1 card left over, and I don't think there's any 0 cost cards in this deck. Which means like one of the easy things you can modify is add resource generators to this deck. I'm assuming you can add team training, team building exercise, because all your cards are Wakanda cards, or a lot of your cards are Black Panther cards. Whoa, Black Panther is a trait, but it's not a trait. Like Komoyo Beads is a Black Panther card, but Black Panther isn't a Black Panther. Huh? I mean, okay, I kind of get it. But like, how good is actually to play a team building exercise? It might not be that good. I do think you want to play a resource generator because, yeah, expensive cards are bad. So the issue is with this hand, we can only play 1 card. Right? Like even with 2 cost cards, you can only play 1 2 cost cards with a 5 card hand size. That's not great. We're ready though. We probably are going to recover. So when we recover, that's all we're doing. So we can play the Elephant Trunk and exhaust IO. That's probably fine. So I guess we have to play the Elephant Trunk just so we can draw, so we can play more than 1 card. That didn't work. Right? So we can exhaust to at least draw 2 cards, which I think is good enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Koye to do this. That will fire Io's ability. Io's ability just says 1 damage, and we're going to do 1 damage to Black Widow. I think Black Widow's text only fires when Black Widow would take an attack. Yeah, so this is not an attack, so this is just a free 1 damage. Okay. Then we're going to flip down. In theory, if we want to use Shuri's ability, we should use Shuri's ability before drawing cards, because if we draw into something that we wanted to play for free, well, that's not good for us. So I still think we're going to play the Elephant's Trunk for 2, so we'll play 1, 2... Yeah, and we'll keep the cheap thing we can play. We have the trunk into play. The Elephant's Trunk allows us to exhaust this and up to 2 other Wakanda allies and their supports. So we can exhaust this and Io to draw 2. I think I'm still going to do that. I think we still have enough tech cards that I'm not worried about drawing all of them and Shuri not having text, but we might actually just recover with text. So we'll draw 2. We have Manifold and we have On the Prowl, so not really playable. So here we can either play the Panther's Claw or the Sonic Rifle. I think we'll play this Panther's Claw because our dream is to play, you know, our supports or our upgrades. And I think we'll just recover here. Playing Sonic Rifle for 1 with Shuri's ability is also pretty good, but I don't think we're going to need that much confuse. If we play Manifold, after Manifold enters play, choose a player. That player searches their deck and discard pile for a player side scheme. So we actually can play that instead and thin our deck. But if we play that, we're not going to be able to play our Panther's Claws. But we have a 0 cost side scheme, I'm pretty sure, in our deck, and we can just get that onto the table. It also technically makes Manifold, like that's the cool thing about these cards that take cards out of your deck. They functionally become 1 resource cheaper. It's like playing Beast. When you play Beast and get a double resource back, Beast only is like functionally 2 costs. So Manifold you could look at as a 2 cost card, as long as you don't play your side scheme, or you, don't play your side scheme functionally, which is kind of neat. So it's either the rifle or the setup or the recovery. I think our side scheme's not that good. Our 2 side schemes are not that good. So I'm going to just play the claws. We'll throw out Manifold and Sonic Rifle, and then we'll recover for 3. We'll ready up. So next turn we can draw a whole bunch as well, because we're stuck here on this side. We draw into an energy. Okay, so we have 1 more research generator. We have the rafts. Definitely want to play that. Did not mean to hit that. We have Spider Bites. That's one of our last upgrades. We have Queen Ramonda, which allows us to recover cheaply. So we're actually not going to mind that. So it means that we can use our activation when we're up in hero mode. And then we have another Sting Operation, which is quintessentially a card we probably won't play. All right. Widow's Web goes to 1. Black Widow schemes for 2 and a card. 1 boost icon. So we're up to 4 of 10. Unlikely we lose. The card is Attack Acrobatics. Oh, actually, we're still getting attacked. Oh, that's really annoying because this pulls us out of our side. The other one. This says, if you're in alter ego form, change the hero form. Boo! We're going to get so much value. Then Black Widow attacks, give an additional boost card. That actually really does stink. We really wanted to be an alter ego. There's not a lot of cards that pull you out of alter ego. So we have no more Dora Milaje cards. So if we want to block with a Koye, we lose a bit of value. I want to kind of consider keeping a Koye around until we draw our support that heals our Dora Milaje, as slow as that might be. So here we might be okay just blocking, unfortunately. So we'll block for 2. What's the text on Shuri? Shuri says, after you use a basic power. So is that after the whole resolution of the block step? I think it is. So we're going to block for 2. Oh, this is a lot of cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We won't die. So attacking for 1. No boost icons. 2 boost icons. So 3 damage, we take 1. And then after this, we'll use a Black Panther upgrade you control. So we could go for 1 thwart and confuse or 2 damage. We'll go for 1 thwart. We won't confuse. Actually, will we confuse? If we confuse, we can jump down. If we jump down, we can exhaust all of these. Yeah, actually, F it. We'll try it. We'll throw out the Camellia beads too. The Camellia beads, when you do the special on it, you're also allowed to discard it to confuse an enemy. Let's try and just hang out in alter ego for a bit. Okay. So this is us. On the prowl is 3 threat and some damage, which is kind of nice. It's not an attack, so it gets around the text on Black Widow. I think we're not going to use Aya or Koya. We're going to exhaust the draw 3. That seems really, really powerful. And then we have Queen Ramonda for recovery, which is good. So I think we will just do on the prowl. We don't really need to, but we're here. So on the prowl is on the screen. It says remove 3 threat from a scheme. Resolve the special ability on the Black Panther upgrade. So we'll do Panther Claws. I would really like the healing one here, but we'll just take the free damage. So this Panther Claws just says deal 2 damage to an enemy, and it's, oh, it is an attack, but that's fine. There's no threat. So Black Widow takes 2. Then we'll flip down. Then we'll do Elephant's Trunk. It says we can exhaust up to 3 Wakanda allies and their supports. They're all Wakanda and Dora Milaje, and we draw up to 3 cards, so we will. We have our 0 cost side scheme. We have Wakanda Forever, which is a hero card. We'll try and hold on to that maybe. And we have a NECA or a Nika. That's our last Dora Milaje, if I'm not mistaken. So we definitely want to play that because they work well together. We're missing our healing card. We're missing our recursion card. So I think we'll just set up what we can here. So the raft at this point, I think we've already seen 2 of the like 4 or 5 minions in the set. How many minions are in the set actually? So Black Widow has 4 minions, and I think there's like 4 more. 3. I think there's 8 minions. We've seen 3 of them. Oh, there's more. So there's like 10 minions? There's 10 minions. We've seen 3. So it might be worth playing the draft just to see what happens. I think we should like prioritize some amount of fun here. So I will play Queen Ramonda for 1. Queen Ramonda says exhaust Queen Ramonda, heal damage from an alter ego with the Wakanda trait equal to that recovery. So we're going to recover 3. Oh, 4 actually. That's pretty good. We're up to 10. Damn, that's good. So here with this hand, this is the problem with a 5-card hand and 3 costers. It's really ugly. So I think we're gonna get rid of Spider Bites. We'll play a NECA, and then we'll hold on to the Raft for next turn because we're gonna. The more Dora Milaje cards we have, the more we're gonna draw with our Elephant's Trunk. Elephant's Trunk is absurd. This is really cool. So this comes in with 3 health, and this has the special to remove 1 threat from a scheme, which is totally fine. Just want to say your graphics are incredibly slick. Thank you, Self-Destruct. My background is in that sort of motion graphic stuff, specifically automation. So those, I didn't make them all by hand. I made one, I built a rig, so it scales the size of things, the numbers, all that sort of stuff. I picked the art in each one, but then I can export all of them without taking a whole lifetime. I appreciated that. That's the sort of stuff I really like doing. It's a lot of fun. We're ready up. Sonic Rifle. On the prowl, that's the threat one. We have invisibility gear, again, precon stuff. I don't care about this. We have the Dora Milaje, finally. That's fantastic. We really want that. It says, resolve the special ability on a Dora Milaje ally and heal 1 damage from the ally. That's so good. That's just really quite good. And then we have another Sonic Rifle. Our deck has the last Shuri upgrade in it. I do think it just has, well, it has T'Challa, which we want, but it does have the Vibranium suit, which is the like the move a damage one around. We might just exhaust to go grab that. I think we will because our activation is not that good. Because the board state's going to have 1 threat on it. And then with that in play, then I think we'll flip up for a bit. All right, this goes to 1. Black Widow doesn't activate because she's confused. We could have played on Expert. Stun Net. They errata the text on this, I think, at some point. Attached to your identity, you cannot attack. Exhaust a character you control to discard this card. Enemy player may trigger this ability. I'm surprised that you could do this in hero mode. This seems like such a non-card. I do think the text on this was actually a bit different back in the day. It said you were constantly stunned, and when you removed it, you were stunned. If you read the booklet that comes with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it says that this card works differently. The way that it works now, it's like barely an encounter card. Okay, I think I'm going to use Shuri because I think our activation is not very good. And so we're going to search our deck for a Black Panther tech upgrade. We don't have to say what it is, right? Like we can search our deck first, but we're going to get Vibranium Suit. This is really quite good. Vibranium Suit. It's an attack. I'm actually pretty sure the specials on... Were the other Vibranium Suit attacks? Oh, they were attacks. Okay. So they were proper attacks. So they deal with retaliate and all that sort of stuff. But this is how you see that this is such an homage. It is a retreading of the old Black Panther stuff. All right. Then we'll draw 1,700 cards. So we'll exhaust Queen Ramonda to heal. We don't really need to do that. It's free, but with Vibranium Suit, it's also free. So we want a bit of damage for Vibranium Suit. We actually don't want to be on full health. Elephant's Trunk. We'll exhaust. I think we're not going to use Okoye's text. This removes threat, which is fine. So we'll exhaust Io, Okoye, and Queen and Elephant's Trunk to draw 3. Vibranium. Aja Adana. That's really good when our deck is thin, because we can put cards back into our deck. That means we'll draw into our Wakanda Forever again, which unfortunately we weren't able to play, but that is very good. We'll play the Dora Milaje for free. This is an action. It's not even an alter ego thing. So we get this for free because we're Wakanda traded. And this deck seems really good. It seems very powerful, like very immediately, very quite good. I'm going to play Vibranium to play the Raft into play. We'll put it here because the Raft needs to grab some minions. So after a minion leaves play, we can tuck it under here if we want to. Then we're going to keep Clawed Strike. We want to play Aja Adana, so I'll just throw out a Sonic Rifle for Aja Adana. This we're going to spend an action to exhaust this, to shuffle an identity-specific card into your discard pile. We're going to go through our deck really soon. Actually, putting Wakanda Forever back might be a mistake, so I think I'm going to go for the 2 damage Claw one. Oh, we have it. I think I'm going to go for the other one. We actually could have done this in another order. So there's an interesting ordering line where we could have drawn first with the Elephant's Tree, then played Aja Adana, then get the Kamoyo beads back into our deck, and then with Shuri play the Kamoyo beads. I don't think we need it, but the ordering there is actually fascinating. I didn't want to put the Wakanda Forever back into our deck because not all our minions are, or not all our upgrades are there. Exhaust the character you control. Your hero character cannot attack. Oh, but these are attacks, but that's fine. Oh, actually, that's not fine. What were we thinking? What were we thinking? That's okay. We'll flip up. We'll exhaust Anika to deal with the stun net. So we just get rid of this. And then we'll exhaust Dora Milaje, which says that we can heal 1 and deal the text, special ability on a Dora Milaje ally and heal 1 damage from that ally. So I think we're incentivized to do Okoye, but its text, Okoye's text is not very good. So we'll deal it to Io. So Io heals 1 and deals Io's ability. Io's ability says deal 1 damage to an enemy. It's not an attack. Villain's down to 10. We could use Queen Ramonda. I guess we might as well because we're going to take damage. So we will recover 1 before we flip up. Then here, I guess we're just going to go ahead and play the Sonic Rifle so we have some cheap confuse. This feels like overkill. I don't want to attack because we remove the threat. Nah, that's not that bad. But we'll just play the Sonic Rifle. It comes in with 2 bullets. I'm not going to use it to confuse. I mean, sure, we'll use it to confuse. So we'll exhaust it to confuse Black Widow. We haven't drawn any of the Dark Designs, but I'm not too scared about threat right now. Okay. We'll drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will deck out perfectly. We finally do T'Challa. Kamoyo Beads is back in. Our ally slots are full. Wait, can we get another ally slot? Because T'Challa is not Dora Milaje. So a bit of a problem. I'm surprised that we don't have another way to get an ally slot. Build support is kind of useless at this point. But otherwise, his hand is fine. We'll shuffle. At this point, we do so much on our turn. Like we set up fully in just, well, not fully. We're missing a couple upgrades, but we set up a lot in one rotation. Now also with the Aja Adana every turn, we're going to be putting cards back into our deck. So we can just always play that 4 cost, 2 cost 6 damage attack and just keep putting it back into our deck over and over again. And I think that Black Widow will blow up in like 3 turns. So used to flipping the top card of my deck because we've been playing too much Magic. This goes to 2. Black Widow attack for 1 in a card. I think we'll just take it to our face. We want to take a bit of damage so Vibranium Suit does something. It has 2 boost icons, so we take 3. Black Widow's text doesn't matter. We draw 2 encounter cards. First one is Aim Soldier. This is perfect. We wanted minions, I think. It says Patrol, which I'm not sure what that means. I think we can't take threat off the main scheme. I'm so confused with the difference between Crisis and Patrol. One day. Find Aim Scientist and put into play engaged with you. If Aim Scientist did not enter this play, place 1 threat on the main scheme. I like this encounter set. Aim Scientist is really cool. I wish we had more minions that just had symbols or just had other text on them that weren't necessarily... Oh, this is the Aim Scientist. Wait a second. That is super unlikely, but this is the Aim Scientist. Find Aim Scientist. Find doesn't check face down encounter cards. I'm pretty sure it's not in the discard pile. Maybe it is. Oh, it is. Beans. I thought we hit the weird, like, 1 in 100. So Aim Scientist is in play. Notice it says put it into play, engage with you. Aim Scientist has Surge. Surge doesn't fire if you put into play, only when you reveal it. So that's all it does if Aim Scientist did not enter play. Okay, so we have Patrol, 1-2. Aim Scientist, on the other hand, comes in with 2 health. Surge, it's vulnerable, so we stun or confuse it. It just leaves. The engaged player is engaged with another minion. Aim Scientist cannot be attacked. That is meaningful text. If we had a way to discard it, so for instance, in our hand, we have a Sting Operation. That is a very funny combination of cards. It says after a non-elite minion schemes, discard Sting Operation. So in theory, we can just discard Aim Scientist after we let it scheme for 0. Pat, shoot your question. Aim Grunt. All right, this one has guard. Let's just make slightly more space here. I'll probably pull down a wee bit. All right, we do have a 1 damage sweeper on the table, but that is an attack, I think. Oh, we actually don't have the sweeper. We don't have the spider bites. So this is 5 health. This is 3 health. This is 2 health. So, okay, we had a lot of things on the table. Let's figure out how to deal with this. I do think our armory of Dora Milaje should be able to deal with this relatively well. Guard just means we can't attack the villain. This we can't attack while engaged with another minion. The Rafts text says after a minion is left play. Tuck it under here from the counter deck discard pile. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the tuck minion's printed scheme if there are at least 4 minions here. Cool. How do these videos get thumbnails before the stream? But when I play Neuroscape, you find a frame of me looking like I've been factory reset after the stream. Pat, it's because we don't take photos of us before the stream. And the only way it's possible here on the Crash Space is that my face is not in the thumbnails, for better or for worse. It's very easy for me to make the thumbnail. I have a lot of fun making the thumbnail. There's a bit of like a 3D effect where I like mask out parts of the card so they overlap. But I want to be very clear on record. The Neuroscape thumbnail you were very happy with. I think it get less obvious as I like cut your hand out while I zoomed in, but it's one of my favorite thumbnails. It's very funny. How you doing, by the way? I'm happy to see you tomorrow, huh? You coming out for nachos? All right, let's look at our hand, look at the table. We have Kimoyo beads, we have T'Challa, but we have too many allies. If we want to do Io's ability to deal 1 damage, that is not an attack. So Io can actually like work on the Aim Scientist. So I'm pretty sure we actually can defeat the Aim Scientist without attacking it once, which is pretty cool. I think we will try that. So the more like reps you have with this deck, I imagine the better you can make the turns, which is always pretty exciting. But I think this is how we're going to start it, just by vibes. I'm just going to vibe it. It's the Precon. We can vibe it. So exhaust Dora Milaje, resolve the special ability on Dora Milaje, and heal 1 from the ally. So we're going to use it to do Okoye's text. Heal 1. Okoye's text says, choose a Wakanda hero or ally, give them +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. We're going to use Black Panther. So Black Panther is now boosted. Yeah, I think that's right. I wish we had the sweeper, but we don't. Now, we're going to attack with the Okoye, taking 1. That'll do 2 damage to the aim soldier. And then Okoye's text says that we can do the ability on another Dora Milaje, so we'll do Io. And Io says deal 1 damage to an enemy. This is not an attack. And Aim Scientist says specifically you can't attack it if there's other minions in play. So it's not an attack. Aim Scientist just took a damage. My bad. Then at this point, I think we're going to use Anika to attack for 2 into the Aim Grunt. Anika says when you use that, resolve the special ability on another Dora Milaje. So we'll use Io again, which does 1 damage to the Scientist. And I think we can put these all in prison. So the Raft says, after a minion leaves play, tuck it under here from the counter deck discard pile. Okay. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the tucked minion's printed scheme. Okay, so we can still do this. That doesn't exhaust. If there are at least 4 minions under here, deal 1 random minion. I'm okay having minions, so we'll continue to do that. None of them have more than 1 scheme, so that's not the best, but that's okay. Now, Black Panther. Okay, now, Io. Did we do this perfectly? Maybe not. What was in her hand? No damage. So my plan was to attack for 2 into the Aim Grunt. And then do the Vibranium. Yeah, we lose a bit of damage here. That's okay. It's not perfect, but it's still pretty good. So I will attack for 2 with Black Panther because we boosted Black Panther's stats into the Aim Grunt. After that, we can do the special ability. So we're going to do Vibranium Suit. Vibranium Suit says that we heal 1 And then we deal 1 damage. So we'll deal 1 damage to the, I guess, the aim soldier. We'll capture the aim soldier and do the raft. Surprised the raft doesn't have a once per turn ability. After minion leaves play, tuck it under here from the counter discard pile. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the tucked minions printed. Scheme? If there's at least 4 minions here, deal 1 randomly. Okay. So unfortunately, we just lose a bit of value with IO. So IO will attack for 3. Defeating the aim grunt. Also goes to jail. We can remove 1 threat from here. Then IO says we can do the text on somebody else. And so none of them are worth doing. None of them are worth doing. No, we could have done it. We could have done it better. So we should have done IO first to fire Okoye. Okoye would have given Black Panther another attack. So then we would attack for 3 into this, which means that we can Vibranium Suit into Black Widow. There's a way to do it. I still think it's a very funny thumbnail. I'll resign myself to never running for office. Yeah, Notch Runner. I'm excited for Notch Runner as much as I'm like really nervous of what decks to bring. I think we could have done that. If we did IO first, we'd do Okoye again for Black Panther, and then we would attack for 3. 3 defeats the guard so that we can do our thing to Black Widow. All right, that was sick. The problem is now our hand is not that good. I kind of want to play T'Challa because T'Challa seems really good. But we have an issue with board space because we only have 3 ally slots. I'm surprised Dora Milaje doesn't give you another Wakanda traded slot. We could flip down here and draw 1,700 cards again. There's nothing wrong with that. It's probably correct, actually, to constantly jump down. I think we will jump down really embarrassingly. Oh god, that's embarrassing. Keep jumping down. All right, I'm flipping down. I guess Queen Ramonda can heal 4, so we recover up to 11. Great, that's our health. Then we're going to use Elephant's Trunk. Oh, it only draws 1 card. That's still worth it. So we draw a card. We drew a Genius. So we use the Genius to play a Komoyo Beads. Okay. I guess we'll just get cards out of our deck. So we'll pitch 2 for a Sting Operation. We'll just have this down here and totally forget about it. It says when a minion would attack you, or sorry, after not only minion schemes, discard that. And then technically goes to the raft, and the raft can remove scheme. We have a build support. I don't care. We can use Aja Adana to shuffle in one of our own cards into our deck. Unfortunately, it's just T'Challa. I feel like these are so good that I'm not going to play T'Challa, and I'll just pass. This is a lot of board buildup. 1, Vibranium, nice. Strength, okay. Sonic Rifle, you can have more than 1. Heart of the Panther, oh, I just threw out T'Challa. It's okay. Infiltration, 6th card is on the prowl. We'll shuffle that back, I guess. This gets 1. Widow, confused. Encounter card. T'Challa's Shadow, sick. Very cool. So, uses 4 Dow counters. Those don't have any mechanical meaning. They're just counters. Increase the resource cost of every card you play by 1. And after you thwart, attack, or defend, remove 1 Dow counter from here. Look at our board state. Like the amount of things that we have to do, we definitely should have played on Expert. It's like kind of absurd how little we have to do here. So we can always like use Dora Milaje to heal IO to get the threat off of it. That's fine. I honestly think Okoye is like maybe the one we can get rid of here. We have to play 4 cards. Our basic activation is not that good, so we'll use Shuri's text to search our deck. Sorry, Shuri. We'll search our deck for Black Panther tech upgrade. I'm just going to try and get all of ours out of the deck. So we'll get Spider Bites. This does cost 2, but it costs +1, so we have to pay 1 resource from our hand. So I'll just throw out an Infiltration. No, I'll throw out the Heart of the Panther. That plays 1 card. Again, T'Challa's Shadow. We just have to play 4 cards, increasing their cost by 1, and then this adds to the victory display. After you thwart, attack, or defend, remove 1 Dow counter from here. Oh, that's also really good. I forgot that text was there. All right, then we're going to use Elephant's Trunk. We'll exhaust Elephant's Trunk. We'll exhaust Queen Ramonda. And then I think we're exhausting Koye. So we'll draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll full send it. We'll flip up. We'll use Dora Milaje to heal from Anika, firing Anika's text. Special, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Great. We will now attack. So we'll spend 1, 2, 3, because it costs 1 more for Clawed Strike. This is disgusting. This is a lot of just like straightforward value. So deal 4 damage to an enemy. So Black Widow takes 4. Resolve the special ability on a Black Panther upgrade. So we're just going to do Panther Claws, which does 2 more damage. We're not going to go for the stun or the 3 more damage. So that'll be 2 more damage. So we played a card and attacked. So this goes down to 1. We can definitely knock over Black Widow to the second side. I think I'm okay doing that too. So we'll keep on the prowl in case there's threat on here. I don't think there's threat on there when you advance. We will attack with Anika. It's 2 attack. Do an ability on another Dora Milaje. So we'll do Ios. Ios tech says do 1 damage. That will advance Black Widow. Black Widow 2. When revealed, place 2 threat on the main scheme. So good, we did them in the right order. We're now adding 2 per turn because this cares about the difficulty of our what act we're on. Black Widow now comes in with only 16 health. Villain set 16. Black Widow 2. Force interrupt when a character you control attacks Black Widow, remove a threat as a cost. So that hasn't happened so far at all. Okay. Now we will pay 1, 2, 3 for On the Prowl. On the Prowl says remove 3 threat from a scheme, so we'll clear this up. And then it says remove, do the ability on a Black Panther upgrade you control. So I think we're just going to go for 2 damage off the Panther Claws. We have now played enough cards, let alone attacked enough, that we can get rid of the Shala's Shadow, goes to victory display. Io will just attack for 2. I can do the ability on a Dora Milaje. They're all useless. This removes a threat. This gives plus stats to somebody. We could have maybe done that in another order. That's okay. We'll use Aja Adana to shuffle a card into the deck. We'll just shuffle back in Clawed Strike because it is a lot of damage. Especially with Panther Claws, we can just send it on the last turn. Like, that's just free damage. We have only 2 cards in our hand. I don't want any of these cards. I'll just use the Sonic Rifle. Just to confuse. It discards. That's fine. And then I'm going to discard these 2 cards and just pass. I want to draw in 2 damage. One. Nice. Wakanda Forever. That's a good way to close the game. Clawed Strike. Okay, we have enough damage in our hand, I believe, to defeat Vibranium. We have a Sting Operation. We have an Energy. 5 cards. I'm used to drawing 3 cards every turn with Elephant, but we don't have that Elephant's Trunk this turn, I don't think, unless we want to hop down, which we could. Which, if we wanted to do that, we wouldn't confuse now. We would confuse on the next phase. So this goes 2. Black Widows are now attacking for 2 in a card. We actually want to take damage because then we can Vibranium Suit. I don't care about this. Boost is 2 damage, so we take 4. We're down to 7. I'm surprised there's no Retaliate anywhere here. We get Automated Defenses. This comes in, side scheme, hinder 1, so it's 4 threat. It says, each encounter card without a printed preparation ability gains preparation, deal 1 damage to the attacking character, and then it has an amplify icon. So we can get rid of this, or we can just get rid of the threat and not care. I think we have enough damage, I'm pretty sure. Let's do some basic math here. So we can Okoye to boost our stats really bad. So we can get up to 2 attack, we can go up to 3 attack, and then if we do Panther's Claws, yeah, there's no shot that we don't have this. We have, I think we just start with Wakanda Forever to see what happens. We want to clear this first, though. So I'm going to use Dora Milaje first. So Dora Milaje says, resolve the special ability of Dora Milaje and heal from them. So we use Okoye's text. Okoye says, pick a Wakanda hero or ally to get +1/+1. So we'll do it to Black Panther. All right. Now we're going to use Dora Okoye to activate. Oh, we need to do somebody else. Hold on. The ordering is really, really difficult. That's fine. We'll still do Okoye for 2 to thread off the main scheme. And then Okoye's text says that we have to pick someone else and do their ability. So I think we're just going to do Io, which is the damage one. So we'll do 1 damage to enemy. So we'll just ping Black Widow for 1. So down to 11. All right. Yeah, this seems absurd. This seems so absurd. Anika's going to attack for 2. Anika's ability allows us to do the text on another Dora Milaje, so we'll boost our stats once more. Then we're going to have Io attack for 2. You probably know where this is going. A villain is down to 7. We do a special on another one. We'll boost our stats up by 1. Io is defeated, if I'm not mistaken. So we're attacking for 4. Yeah, this is pretty absurd. It is honestly very quite good. Like, we have so much damage. I'll play a Wakanda Forever. So Wakanda Forever says, resolve the special ability on each Black Panther upgrade you control in any order. Now, obviously, that's the other Wakanda Forever, but I think the text is the same. Resolve the special ability in each Black Panther upgrade and control in any order. Okay, so we'll just full send it. We'll do all of them just so we can do all of them. Spider Bites, deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. You may discard this to stun. Yeah, sure. Down to 6. Confused and stunned. Komoyo Beats. Remove 1 threat from a scheme. Okay. We can discard it to confuse. Obviously, we're already confused. Vibranium Suit. This says move 1 damage, so we heal 1. Villain takes 1. Great. And then we can do Panther Claws. I'm not going to discard this yet. But this says deal 2 damage. Okay. Oh, we could just discard this and win. Yeah, if we discard this, it does 3 more damage. We had an activation, which is 4, 5, 6 damage. And then we had Clawed Strike, which is another like 9 damage. The heck? This seems good and straightforward. This is what I thought. It's like the engine's really good. This package is better than I thought it was. That was very powerful. Not that we're really being threatened by like having to block. Black Widow doesn't attack for a lot. We're playing on standard. It's not super hard, but yeah, this precon, like this is what you see with precons a lot of times, is that there's too many copies of cards that like you don't even want to play that much. Like we barely played any of these yellow cards, but the engine, if you ignore those and consider them resource cards with 1 icon, yeah, you shred. You really do shred. Let's try against Klaw. We'll play it on a harder difficulty. We'll try an expert Klaw without changing anything, and I think we'll still have a good time. I think we're going to make Klaw harder. So we have 2 choices for Klaw. So Klaw, you need to add 1 set that's all about minions. Our choices are, and chat, you can choose which one you want to see here. Okay, not that. Oh, that's going to play out. Hold on 1 second. The wrong button. So we can either play with the Wrecking Crew, which is harder. This will have some big minions. I've never played with this one. The other option we can play is we can play with the Sinister Syndicate. So we can also do Sinister Syndicate, which I've never played with either of these. I think Sinister Syndicate is probably a bit easier. The minions are a bit maybe more interesting, but have less stats. But I think we're going to either pick Sinister Syndicate or the Wrecking Crew to add to Klaw. While I clean this up, if you have a strong opinion, please let me know and we'll shuffle those ones into the deck, because I think we probably need to make it a bit harder. Hubris, that will never come back to get us. How does Klaw work with your nemesis? In theory, you can't have your nemesis enter play because they have the same title. So just to show you, Pursued by the Past says, oh, the front side. Pursued by the Past says, after you flip to the side, find your nemesis minion and reveal it. Search the set aside area for your nemesis side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle your nemesis. So you just can't reveal your nemesis because it shares a title with the villain, from my understanding. So you still do the rest of this. You still have to grab your encounter card and all that sort of stuff. I think if you play Shadow of the Past, it actually is a meaningful difference, because Shadow of the Past says reveal your set aside nemesis and put into play, reveal your side scheme, shuffle the rest of the counter set. If your nemesis minion does not enter the game this way, this card gains surge. So if you're playing Shadow of the Past, you just add your nemesis and your cards and then it gets surge. But I think Pursued by the Past, you just do as much as you can. Because this says after you place pursuit counters, if your nemesis is in play, it activates, otherwise flip. Yeah. So you just don't put it in. Yeah. So Pursuit is just simple. It might make more sense to play on standard instead. Yeah, let's just play on standard instead of standard 3. It's been a while since we've done it on the other side. Well, I'll just play standard. Syndicate could be good because it can trip up your game plan. Why do you think? What does Syndicate do? I haven't experienced that many of the side schemes. That many of the encounter sets, excuse me. All right, we're a bit pressed for time, so I'm not going to do a good job cleaning this up. I'm just going to put all these cards aside. We'll just take out... I actually don't think we have to take anything out if we play on standard. Yeah, we can just leave all this together and we'll have this mess to deal with later. Klaw. It's Klaw. We're going to do Klaw 2 and 3. So I'll just re-sleeve this really quickly. I don't know if people are in the double-sided villain gang. I think it's a really nice way to live your life. It's super convenient. So we have Defense Network, we have the Mortal Klaw, we have our 2 schemes. Let's see if this will kick our ass. It's Underground Distribution. I feel like the setup of this is they would do it differently modernly. Discard for a minion is not something they do all the time. We'll play Standard and Expert. So Underground Distribution says... Klaw 2 and 3 on Expert. We're playing Standard and Expert as well. We're not going to play with the Masters of Evil. Instead, we're going to do the Sinister Syndicate, which I believe we just can show here. So that's this. Boost icons 0.7. The number of boost icons matters a fair bit in this scenario because Klaw wants to get a lot of cards. The Klaw set is... I don't think it's super boost heavy. I think it has a lot of stars. Oh, that didn't update. That should have updated. I have to wait for that to finish. So it says we're going to play with that. This is our deck. It says search and counter deck for the defense network side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle and counter, advance to stage 1B. So defense network will start on the table, and this is underground distribution. It does have a when revealed text. This just says when revealed, discard cards from the counter deck until a minion is discarded. So we'll add the Sinister Syndicate, which should be this. Oh, sorry, we want to see the Klaw cards. So I don't know how bad the boosts are for Klaw. Did I break it? Is the system broken? Hold on, I think I might have broken this. So single encounter sets. Something's wrong. Okay, so I won't be able to pull it up. I have to look at that. So regardless, we're gonna add the Sinister Syndicate. So that is 7 cards. So discard cards from the counter deck until a minion is discarded. Put that minion into play. There's a lot of variance there. If you get a Masters of Evil or you get like the Armored Guard, it's such a big difference. This says put into play, so you don't do any when revealed. That might matter for this encounter set. It also means Surge 1 fire, and I do think the weapons runner has Surge. But yeah, a lot of times in modern designs, you see it that they say discard cards until you find a minion and then shuffle the discard card back. Because if all the minions are in the bottom and you discard the top card, like half the deck, it's not it's like not likely to happen, but it's something you've seen this exact same pattern and they've changed it in the future. And I like it a bit better if you shuffle the discard card back. Okay, so we're doing that. So let's start discarding. I think we shuffled well enough. So until a minion. Oh, half the cards are upside down. That's pretty bad. So we got rid of Shadow of the Past. This is what I mean. And we start with Beetle. So why are some of the cards upside down? That's probably a pattern. That might be the Sinister Syndicate cards. Yeah, we should fix that really quickly. Sorry, it feels like I'm rushing, and I don't like rushing because I get sloppy, and you can tell. Okay. So losing Shadow of the Past is a bummer. That means we just probably won't see our Klaw. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this back in because I want to see our Nemesis set. So we'll force it to be a bit more difficult potentially. This is Beetle. So this starts in play. Beetle, just Beetle? No, not Beetle Nemesis, just Beetle. Do I have just Beetle? Yeah, I do. So 4 health, force response. After Beetle attacks and damages you, discard the lowest cost upgrade you control. Oh, that's pretty cool. That card seems to be a bit messed up on the crop, but not too bad. But yeah, that actually matters. That's cool. That means we don't want to let this attack because obviously we're going to put an upgrade into play. So hopefully we can do 4 damage on turn 1. All right, we have some schemes into play or some side schemes because Klaw starts with the side scheme here. Coming in with 18 health. Villain set 18. It says when revealed, search the counter deck and discard pile for the Mortal Klaw. So actually villain set 28. Force interrupt when Klaw attacks, of course, get an additional boost card. So a lot of boost cards, you go through the deck relatively quickly. All right, slow down, Andre. You got this. We'll set our health to 11, which is where we start. So defense network doesn't really have much to it. It is just a side scheme that has a crisis that starts with 3 threat. You want to get rid of this. You don't need to get rid of this on turn 1, but you want to get rid of it. The Mortal Klaw is a bit more pressing, it feels like sometimes. This thing comes in with 3 threat and an acceleration icon, and it does technically give Klaw plus 10 health. I haven't seen that actually really matter. You can still technically go through that health, but obviously doing 3 threat to do 10 damage is like a really good trade. So you are going to want to do that for sure. And it's more so the acceleration icon on the first scheme. There is another scheme, so if we lose this, we don't lose, but something we want to deal with. And of course, we start with Beetle. This we don't need. Oh, we need to shuffle into the deck. Sorry, we have to shuffle T'Challa's Shadow back into the deck. Yeah, we need our obligation, which we removed from the game. We could have discarded that, but that's fine. Yo, Ken, how's it going? Not as hyped for Silk and Black Panther this wave. Definitely looking forward to Winter Soldier and Falcon. I've seen some spoilers of some of the this Falcon cards, and oh my god, did they hide some of the most interesting cards in the previews from what I've seen. I have no doubt Winter Soldier is going to have some really interesting aggression build-arounds because a lot of the cards the set have been like really cool build-arounds. But I don't know. Silk, I'm excited to play. Looks strange. Black Panther so far just looks pretty straightforward and pretty good. And I do think a lot of people will enjoy that. All right. 20th health Klaw, 11 health Black Panther. Let's go. How you doing, by the way? Are you traveling this weekend to OTG? You're not super far away from it. I don't know if you're like doing states travel or not. All right, so we do have a 4-cost attack that can deal with Beetle. That would be nice. Otherwise, if we use our Shuri ability to go search for something, we won't be ready, and then Beetle will attack us and we'll have to discard an upgrade. We want to avoid doing that. This tension on turn 1 is really interesting because you have acceleration, but you have a crisis. Dunel probably not crossing the border for the time. Yeah, I'm in the same camp. I get that. I realized after I said that, I was like, wait a second, that might not make any sense. But hopefully OTG is pretty cool. All right, mulligan 6 cards. We don't have any like resource generators, but I do think we want like early Dora Milaje if we can get it. A 4-cost attack would be the best here for Clawed Strike. All right, that's a NECA. A NECA is, they all attack for 2. This is the remove 1 threat from a scheme. That's not bad. 3 is expensive. We have Queen Ramonda. I probably won't keep this. It's not the most important card to keep in our opening hand. It's not a bad card, but I don't want to keep it. Vibranium, we'll definitely keep that. It's a double. Wakanda Forever, probably won't keep this. It's not super good. It's the other one. They have the same text, so it's totally fine. Same type of art too, which is really cool. In theory, we can grab one of our cards, and with Wakanda Forever, if we get our claws, we actually can one-shot Beetle, because if we throw out our claw, it does 5 damage with piercing, and that's like some value to that. I'll put it in the maybe camp. I did travel to Fargo for Netrunner back in February, but the vibes were a bit off. Oh, well, it didn't get better. Second Vibranium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6th card is Heart of the Panther. We definitely won't keep that. So, double resources and Nika. We have the Wakanda Forever. I don't know if we keep the Wakanda Forever. It forces us to discard or upgrade. I would like to actually naturally just draw into an upgrade so we could pop up with Shuri. In theory, if we use Shuri and Anika, then we can use our ability. But if we don't draw an upgrade, the Wakanda Forever is useless. So I think I'm actually going to hedge like this and keep these resources. We have some expensive cards. We'll draw 3 more. But yeah, at least we have 4 damage between the 2 of us. Sting Operation. Ugh. Visibility Gear. The Raft. The Raft is fun. The Raft is at least something. And if we defeat Beetle, we can do 1 threat. So we'll probably play the Raft. But I think now with this hand, we're not allowed to use Shuri's text. Because if we exhaust ourselves, that's such a good text though. But if we exhaust ourselves, we get hit by the Beetle. If we jump in, and I think we have to jump to jump up. Very important clause, double boost only happens when Claw attacks, not when Claw schemes for 2 in a card. So how do we play this hand? We could do 2 for the Raft, and then we can do 3 for Anika, and then we can just throw the Sting Operation into the trash. Not a bad card. I don't think a lot of the minions scheme for that much, but I think that's probably what we do here. So we'll play the Raft. It's a fun card. Very flavorful card. So after minion leaves play, tuck it, we can do some scheming. Then we'll pitch 1, 2, 3 into Anika, which is our first Dora Milaje, so we got to start somewhere. So unfortunately, its text is entirely blank because obviously synergy packages require friends, and we don't have friends. We also don't have an upgrade, so Shuri's text is not going to do anything. It might be fine. The problem is like we want to play our cards, but we could actually play no upgrades and then have Beetle's text be totally blank and we can just take 2 damage. But if Beetle's text is blank, like we're not playing any of our hand. Our hand was entirely upgrades and supports. So we'll flip up. Unfortunately, sad Shuri has no text. Our attack is for 1. Oh, we attack for 1, not 2. I guess we're going to sacrifice the Raft. I thought we had 2 attack. I'm so used to Black Panther. So that means we cannot defeat the Beetle. We could clear one of these side schemes. So maybe we keep the Raft. Hold on. So this is our hand that we played. So this was this. So maybe we just keep the Raft in hand because we kind of want to play the Raft. Oh, wait, that sucks. So this was our hand, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's reconsider this. We might actually use our ability to get an upgrade. That means we could have kept Wakanda Forever, but obviously we messed that up. So say that we play 1, 2, 3 for Anika. We're never going to play these cards, so that's fine. So this leaves us with these 3. So we could play Invisibility Gear. Oh, actually Invisibility Gear is fine. Wait, Invisibility Gear is good. Wait, no, this is sick. We'll play Invisibility Gear. It actually does something. I thought Nettle is upgrade only. Beetle? No, I think... We should check. Lowest cost upgrade. Oh. After? It says when. So in theory, we can make Beetle just scheme instead for 1. That's fine. So we could either make Beetle scheme, or we could play the Raft and not care about the damage. Let's just not care about the damage. Yeah, you're right. It's not only upgrade, not support. Okay, that's fine. So we are not actually threatened by it. But that means, no, hold on, because we want to use Shuri's ability. I think we definitely need to use Shuri's ability because we don't draw into anything. So we're going to use Shuri's ability to search our deck for an upgrade. So we're going to do that, and then we'll play it, exhausting ourselves. So I think the upgrade we want here is probably not the damage upgrade because the Nico will deal with Beetle. I think we want to go for the threat upgrade. So we'll go for Kimoyo Beads. Hey, Roshni, I'm currently introducing my friend who loves Marvel to their first Crash Space stream. Welcome, Roshni's friend. We're trying out the pre-constructed deck of Black Panther Shuri. So far, it's been pretty powerful. That being said, we have to close the stream down in like 25 minutes. So we're like doing a bit of a speed run. So it's not going to be the most straightforward. I'll talk a bit fast and feverishly. But if you have any questions, welcome. It looks like you have good friends. So we'll play Kimoyo Beads. We'll flip up. We'll play... I think we actually play Invisibility Gear so that Beetle does not attack us. And Nika is going to do 2 damage to the Beetle. Unfortunately, has no text. And we'll pass. We'll hold on to the raft because it's just really fun. It might not be the right thing, and we'll drop to 5. Invisibility Gear again. Energy, fine. Vibranium Suit, pretty good. So we're going to take some damage for sure. And we have a build support, which is probably fine. All right, this goes to 2. Again, Claw's going to attack us. Claw's attacking for 1 and 2 boost cards. I don't think we're incentivized to block here. We want to take a bit of damage because we might end up playing our support. So I think we're just going to take the damage. 1, 2, 3, sound manipulation. 4, gang up. I don't play against standard. It's good to see gang up. That's a pretty bad card for us. So we'll take 4 damage. Now Beetle's going to attack, but here we're going to do Invisibility Gear, which might be a bit risky. It says when an enemy would attack you, discard this, they scheme instead. So instead Beetle is going to scheme. So Beetle is now going to just scheme for 1, which puts this to 3. We still have some work to do, but we definitely need to start threatening stuff. Again, does anybody know the text on Crisis? Does Crisis say that you cannot thwart or you cannot remove threat? Oh, it doesn't matter. Kimoyo Beads is a threat, so is a thwart. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Single card, Crime Pays. Okay. We have a lot of threat work to do. This is from the Sinister Syndicate set. It says when revealed, search the counter deck for a criminal minion and put into play engage with you. Oh no. Let's see who the least threatening criminal is. I think, of course, all of the cards specifically from our Sinister Syndicate is a criminal. They are criminals. We have White Rabbit. When White Rabbit attacks you, discard a card at random from your hand. 3 health. Let's look at our hand. How much damage do we have? None. That's good. We have Speed Demon that says when you would attack Speed Demon attacks you first. Also still 3 health. The Mercenary, not criminal. We have Boomerang. After Boomerang attacks you, deal 1 damage to each ally you control. 5 health. Probably won't go for that. We have Shocker. After Shocker is attacked, stun the attacking character. 5 health. Pretty bad. This is a cool encounter set. I think we'll do White Rabbit. Crisis cannot remove threat. Patrollers cannot thwart the main. I hate that distinction, and I feel like I will never remember it. It's obviously important because certain cards interact with it, but I just wish like it was just any card that has patrol can just have a Crisis icon on it. I do not think it makes that game that much more interesting. But the problem is obviously I can't remember anything. All right, we're in a bad spot. This means we're going to lose next turn because this is going to hit. We'll not lose, we'll advance the main scheme because the Mortal Claw plus this means this hits 6. So in terms of the threat we can remove 3 threat on our own, 2 with Black Panther, 1 from Kimoyo Beads. That means we can get rid of Crime Pays. And then we have to get rid of this next turn. That's the best we have. So we activate for 2. That means White Rabbit is going to ping us for sure. We can't get around that. Beetle is going to attack us. We'll defeat Beetles with Anika. We also have the Vibranium Suit, but that's probably not worth it. So if we defeat Beetle, oh, that's actually a cool thing. Is that with the Raft, with the White Rabbit, we can remove 2 threats. So we can do a bit of work here. Crisis cannot remove threat. Patrols can't thwart. Can't remove threat. So Crisis is worse. All right. Well, not much to do with this hand. We can Invisibility Gear, but we can't afford to do it. So we'll Energy for a Vibranium Suit. This says that we can move a damage. Get a tough if we really want to. That's a nice kicker. Then we'll spend 2 for the Raft. Our goal is to support the prison industrial complex. We need more criminals because more criminals means more value for us. Pretty messed up. We're going to thwart for 2 into Crime Pays, I guess. And then Black Panther's text, Shuri's text says that we can now do an ability on one of these. So we could do Kimoyo Beads and discard it, but I don't think we can afford to discard it. So we'll just do Kimoyo Beads and just remove 1 threat from here. That means that this will only hit 5 next turn, and if we're lucky, we won't advance. We'll now use Anika. It's going to attack for 2 into the beetle. That'll defeat the beetle. And then the raft says that if we want to, whenever an enemy is discarded, we can put it underneath here instead, and then remove threat equal to their heroes, to that minion's printed scheme. This is remove threat? Oh, so this does matter. Crisis cannot remove threat. Beans, I think we have to do this. So we remove 1 threat. We'll pass. This is not as good as our last game. 1, 2, on the prowl is really good. 3, 4, 5. We can actually do infiltration and might hit a minion, but that is a very cheap threat. So as long as we get through this turn, we'll be okay. Unfortunately, White Rabbit's going to cause us to discard a card. Let's slide these down so it's a bit more centered. Must depart the stream. Can't wait to see how the game goes in the VOD. Good luck and breathe and enjoy the game. Thank you, Donovan. Enjoy the rest of your day, let alone the weekend. Thanks for dropping by. All right, this goes to 5 as a crisis. So we can't get threat off of this until we clear the defense network. Claw's going to attack for 1 and 2 boost cards. We're at 7 health. There's a very narrow chance that we flatline to this. It would have to be 2, 3 boosters. It's unlikely. I don't think the Claw set has a lot of boost cards. It has a lot of like star boosts that will like exhaust us. That will be a disaster if we get one of those. So I think we just have to like suffer. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 damage. We're down to 3 health. That's risky. That is risky. So we're down to 4. Sorry, we take 4. We're down to 3. And now White Rabbit's going to attack us. When White Rabbit attacks you, discard a card at random from your hand. So I think that happens before we decide if we block. So randomly, I'll just roll a die. Don't have to shuffle 1, 5. We lose infiltration. Oh, that's bad. We definitely wanted that. Oh, we really wanted that. That was the best card in our hand, I think. No, on the prowl is really good. And so now we're getting attacked by 2. Now that doesn't defeat us. So here we have a couple choices. It's actually better that we go down to 1. Okay, not better that we go down to 1 health, but if we go down to 1 health and don't block with Anika, we can attack for 2, and then we can thwart ourselves for 2, which will clear defense network. Then Anika can defeat White Rabbit, which if we put a White Rabbit in the raft, we can clear 2 threat from here, which will survive. The issue is if we draw an encounter card that just says deal 1 damage, which I'm not sure if Sinister Syndicate does that. I don't think Claw does that. Claw might do that, but we have to take a risk, so we'll just take 2 damage. We're down to 1 health. 1 encounter card, Armored Guard, that's fine. This thing does not do that much. Comes in with guard and toughness, 3 health. This is the thing that you're happier to get on turn 1, that's for sure. So we can't attack Claw, but that's okay. So we should be able to get out of this as much as we're going to be on low health. We might have to do a tactical retreat and jump down. Jumping down might be reasonable and just allow Claw to thwart out the first scheme as long as it doesn't complete on its own. We wanted to complete not on step 1, we wanted to complete on when the villain actually does an activation. So our only play here, oh, we can give piercing, that's cool. So I think we definitely thwart for 2 into defense network, clearing it. And then we can do the ability on one of our upgrades. So I think we're going to do a Vibranium Suit here. A Vibranium Suit says that we can move 1 damage, so heal, that's nice. And then we do 1 damage to White Rabbit. Then Anika's going to attack for 2. And Anika's going to defeat herself, the consequential, but also the White Rabbit. And when the White Rabbit goes to the jail, to the prison, we can take 2 threat off of his scheme. So we will clear this down to 3. That's really good. That means that it won't advance on its own. It'll get to 5. And if we can confuse Claw, we can hop down. So we have a couple options here. We can either on the prowl and then hope it doesn't advance. On the prowl removes 3 threat and then can heal us for 1, or it can remove another threat. I think we might have to on the prowl and do Komoyo beads. We could just Sonic Rifle. The thing is, like, it saves a card from our hand. Why does the Armor Guard look like a Warhammer Space Marine? It really does. And I think it's all the shoulders. How's it going, Meether? Hey, love. Have fun. Nana got fed? Okay. Maddie has to pop out. And so it's you have to be very clear that Nanako has already got dinner. Otherwise, she'll ask again. And who will know better than that? Okay. So we can either go for the Confuse with the Sonic Rifle. I'm really worried we're going to come to time. That's one option. Or we can go do the On the Prowl, which does more for us because it allows us to do the ability. So On the Prowl is actually interesting if we don't want to flip down because we can remove 3 threat from a scheme, resolve the special ability. Vibranium Suit's special ability is also pretty good because it gives us a toughness and it removes 1 damage. So we'll be on 3 toughness, which is maybe a better spot to be. Being flipped down is not the worst. And Armor Guard is not really scheming for anything. So Sonic Rifle doesn't deal with the table, but On the Prowl deals with the table. I feel like dealing with the table might be a bit better. So I think we'll do 1-2 for On the Prowl. We'll probably hold on to the claws. Actually, we probably shouldn't hold on to the claws. I feel like I'm playing this like Black Panther, where like in the original Black Panther, you want to get all your upgrades on the table because your deck is mostly Wakanda forever. But because we can only activate once a round, you don't actually need that many cards. You only need at least one upgrade to make your ability that good. So On the Prowl says, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So I'll do it to this. Then we can resolve the special ability on the Black Panther. So we either have 1 more threat, which is not that good, or we can move 1 damage. So I'll do the Vibranium. So move 1 damage from a hero to an enemy. This is an attack, so we can only target the armored guard. So we'll take the toughness off. How do you move damage to toughness? We'll recover 1. And now we can discard this to give us a tough status card. And I think we either need a tough status card or a confuse. So I think we'll have to go for the tough. We'll discard this. That's a good card though. So we gain the toughness. And I think now we hold. Claw will do no damage. Armored guard will deal 1. And that's it. Drop. Elephant's Trunk, we want to flip down. Sting Operation, funny. Dora Milaje is definitely okay, but we have nobody to work it with. Another Sonic Rifle. This hand is not good. I feel like we should have jumped down, especially because we drew the thing. Okay, this goes to 2. Claws attacking for 1 and 2 boost cards. We have toughness, so we don't care. So it's no boost. No boost. Unfortunately, we block 2 damage into the toughness, and then we take 1 damage when the armored guard attacks us. Single encounter card. Weapons Runner. This one has Surge. At least the raft is eating well. So Surge. So we draw another card. Sonic Boom. Either spend each type of resource or exhaust each character you control. Now, luckily, we only have 1 character. The problem is that's an important character because that character can fire Kamoyo beads, which can get it confused. So I'm pretty sure here we just exhaust ourselves. We hop down, we get a confuse, which means this will go to 4, 5, and then we'll be fine. So we're just going to exhaust ourselves. It's a shame because we can't use our text, but it's the best we got. So this forces our hand that we have to do 1. Oh, Elephant's Trunk is so good, but we have nothing on the table. So we'll play a Sonic Rifle for 3. Comes in with 2 charges. Oh, this is not an attack. Okay, I needed to check. This is not an attack as much as it can do damage. If it was an attack, we wouldn't be able to target Claw because this thing has guard. So we'll exhaust this to do a confuse to Claw. We'll hop down to Alter Ego. And then we'll just play Dora Milaje for free. It's technically free if you're Wakanda traded, and that will matter because it has some good synergy points for our Dora Milaje allies, which we might draw. And that's all we got. We can't do this because we have no Dora Milaje allies. We have 2 more in the deck, and we'll pass. Spider Bites, that's good. AoE will be pretty okay here. Another Sting Operation. Sonic Rifle. Infiltration. We're really feeling the precon here, and an On the Prowl. At least that's okay. All right, this goes to 5. No, the 4. Claws confused. Armored Guard adds 0 scheme. Weapons Runner adds 1 scheme. So we're at 5 of 6. We draw a single encounter card. It is Sinister Onslaught. That sounds bad. When revealed Alter Ego, each criminal enemy in play schemes. There are none. So this gains Surge. That's cool text. Claw's Vengeance. Discard 1 card at random from your hand. Okay. There's 1.5 cards we care about. Here we'd really like our Queen Ramonda to heal 1, so it's 2. That is one of the cards we cared about. That is the card we wanted. So we might have to grab another minion. This is really bad. We are far behind, unfortunately. There's just been too many threats on the table. We cannot stabilize. Okay, so let's think about this. We should recover. We have no allies, so blocking is something we have to do with our face. Whoa, you may discard this to stun everyone? Wait, this is incredible. So if we flip up an attack or thwart, in which we have to thwart this so that we don't lose. Deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion. You may discard this to stun each of those. Wait, that's incredibly good. So that's hype. We'll definitely play that. So I think that's our whole turn, is we flip up and just fire Spider Bites. And then unfortunately, because we lost a card, we can't play Infiltration. We would be actually really happy to do Infiltration to remove a whole bunch of threat from this and then play the Spider Bites. But we lost the 1 card because if Infiltration grabs a minion, we don't mind. Because we would have stunned it. So that sucks. That was a really bad card loss. So I will just pay 2 for Spider Bites. We will flip up. We will thwart for 2 into this so we don't lose. We will do the special ability, so we'll do Spider Bites. So it says deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion in play. This is not an attack, so it doesn't care about guard. And then we'll discard this to stun everyone. That's really cool. I thought this was only a singular stun. I think we'll throw out Infiltration. I think we can draw for better. Problem is we don't have any more events that scheme because we lost 2 on the prowls, so we could hold on to Infiltration as a way to deal with this. Next turn we can clear this at a minimum because we can do 1-2 Kimoyo beads and jump down, but with the Sonic Rifle we'll probably jump down. We could also use a Sonic Rifle here to get a Confuse, but I think we've lost 1 advance so far, so I'm not too concerned. Also, we defeat one of these, we get 1 threat off, which is good. I think we won't hold on to that. I just don't know the deck well enough to know if we draw into anything better. Not good. Clawed Strike is some damage. We have Invisibility Gear. That's more scheming. We have T'Challa. That can help us a heck of a lot. That's really important. And we have Infiltration. So we didn't draw any of our resources. I don't think we have that many resources left in the deck. Oh, we have 2. So we could have actually drawn a better hand. So unfortunately, with a 4-cost card like T'Challa, it's our whole hand to play it. So that's not a lot of decision making. This goes to 5. Stun, stun, stun. 1 encounter card. Armored Guard. Okay. Help. Now, these things are not that scary. They have only 1 attack, and you can generally take 1 attack, but it does have guard and does have toughness, which is a bit annoying. Okay. So, firing Spider Bites again would be pretty slick. I think we have nothing to this turn besides just playing T'Challa for 4. T'Challa comes in, 3 health. Thwart for 2, attack for 2. And after you use T'Challa, you can use a special ability on 1 Black Panther upgrade. Perfectly, we have 1 Black Panther upgrade. So we could flip down here. I think flipping down is probably the play. We have the Sonic Rifle for the Confuse, and so we can use Kimoyo Beads twice, which means we can thwart for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should deal it. T'Challa's a Blatcho retrigger? I think so. There's a lot of cards like this, though, in Marvel Champions. 1 second. Nanako, I'm here. When Maddie leaves, or anybody leaves and Nanako thinks she's alone, she starts howling really sadly, but she just doesn't know I'm here. I need to make more noise. Nanako, I'm in the room. Come say hi. Hopefully she'll find me. Okay, so they only scheme for 1. That's fine. We're going to use the Sonic Rifle immediately just to confuse Claw, and it is discarded. Yeah, poor Nanako. She like picks up her toy, her dragon in her mouth, which is like her fun, well, her like big friend when she's on her own. And then she starts howling with the thing, her mouth full of a plushy dragon, which makes the sound so much sadder because it's like this weird muffled cry. Okay. So we need to thwart this more than that, but doing this would be fine. So we'll thwart for 2 to start here. This drops it down to 3, which is a good enough spot to be in because it'll only go up to 4, 5, 6. No, we have to do 1 more. So we're going to risk it. This fires Kimoyo Beads. Kimoyo Beads says that we can remove 1 threat from a scheme. So I'm actually going to do it from this one. Then Black Panther, she'll scheme this, which clears it. So the villain technically loses 10 health. And then we'll remove 1 from this. So now this will go up to 3, 4, and we should be fine. We will flip down for safety. And we will pass our turn. At this point in the deck, it has a lot of resources and a lot of Dora Milaje, which is why our first game was so good, because we snowballed hard with Dora Milaje. Okay, we didn't shuffle that well, huh? All right, last card in the deck is a Manifold. So we do have our setup for Okoye Io. We should be able to claw this back. All right, villain face. This goes to 3. Oh, it actually might have been okay to do a damage to this. Oh no, we didn't have good numbers. So confused. Schemes for 0, schemes for 0, schemes for 1. Single encounter card. Shadow of the Past. All right, so this has Surge. So this, what we're doing is a bit interesting. We're playing on standard. It says reveal your set-aside Nemesis minion and put it into play, engage with you. Reveal your set-aside Nemesis side scheme and put it into play. Shuffle the rest of the set-aside Nemesis encounter set into the counter deck. If your Nemesis minion does not enter this way, this gains Surge. And our Nemesis minion won't enter play because our Nemesis minion is also Claw. And you can't have 2 characters in play with the same title. So this is going to get Surge. But in theory, the Surge happens after we shuffle all these cards into the deck because the order here is really important. Clawing your way back. So Shadow of the Past. We chose to shuffle this back into the deck. So we have to put this first into play. This is a really interesting set. This is manipulated music. So this one says, when revealed, find music and put it into play, engage with you. This has 5 threat and an amplify. And when defeated, discard music from play. This is music, which is really cool, really frightening. Music is 1 health, is a captive. When revealed, find manipulated music and put into play. We already have that. Has an amplify as well, so that's pretty bad with Klaw. Amplify is really bad with Klaw. This set works well together, because if Klaw draws 2 boost cards, each of those cards has +1 icon, so that's a lot of extra damage, or a lot of extra threat. And it says, when defeated, move all threat from manipulated music to the main scheme. So we definitely want to clear this. If we accidentally do 1 damage to this, it's going to be really bad for us. Then we shuffle these 3 cards into the deck, but not Klaw, because we can't get Klaw. And then we have to get Surge. So there's a chance we'll draw one of the cards that we just shuffled in. Normally Shadow of the Past doesn't Surge 99% of the time. It's already 526. Oh God. Okay, hold on. We have some work to do. Last encounter card, solid sound body. This is fine. This makes it harder to hit Klaw, but I don't think we mind that. So Klaw gets Retaliate 1. That means if we attack it, we take 1 damage back. And we have to spend 1 of each resource. We're not going to care. We're just not going to attack Klaw for a bit, so that's fine. Okay, our deck has no more upgrades in it. So we don't have anything to do with Shuri. We can consider recovering, but if we recover, we can't do our ability. And we want to use Komoyo beads. Klaw is going to attack for a lot, so we really need to clear this as soon as possible because 2 amplify icons is a huge problem for us. I think our hand wants to play 1, 2, 3 into Koyo. Oh, we can't do it, can we? I think we're short. We're 1, 2, 4 onto Okoye. Okoye can buff our stats. We're short 1 resource. Right, we need 3 doubles. So we either play Io or Okoye. Io does damage to enemies. That's not bad. If we defeat the weapons runner, we can take a threat off because of the raft. That's okay. That means if we play Okoye, though, we can fire Okoye's special, which says that Wakanda hero or ally gets +1. That puts T'Challa at 3, which is also pretty good. If we just play Io like that, then we actually can play Clawed Strike. Clawed Strike is technically 4 damage and 1 threat because we fire an upgrade and we can hold on to Okoye. We're going to draw 2 encounter cards. 4 damage. What are we worried about? Literally everything. I think we'd rather have Okoye here, but then we're only playing 1 card. We could play Going Undercover. Does this do anything? No, it doesn't do anything. But it gets it out of the deck, which is fine. So we might just play Okoye for 4 and play Clawed Strike. Wait, we can still do that, right? If we do 1, 2, 3, 4 for Okoye and then just play Clawed Strike. That's probably better. Okay, we'll play Okoye. For 4. Okoye comes in with 3 health. Is Dora Milaje and Wakanda. And of course we have the Dora Milaje support, which says, and we definitely will do this, but we might do this after. Exhaust Dora Milaje to resolve the special ability on a Dora Milaje and heal 1 damage. So we're going to activate Okoye first, takes a consequential, then we'll heal. Can we heal here? It'd be pretty good to heal, but we definitely need to get 5 off of this, so we get rid of 2 amplifies so Klaw doesn't hit like a truck. As much as we could block with T'Challa, but unfortunately T'Challa will miss the cycle, which is not a good spot to be, because we're going to cycle through our deck, which means it'll go into our discard pile, so we won't draw T'Challa for a long time. We're going to ping for 1, 2, 3 damage, which is not sustainable, so we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off of manipulated music, using Okoye and T'Challa. That will fire Komoyo beads once, dropping us to 3. I think we can afford to recover here. We will recover for 4. We will flip up. We're at 6 health. We will use Okoye. Okoye will attack for 2 or thwart for 2. I think we'll attack for 2, thwart for 2. Then we'll use Dora Milaje. Dora Milaje heals Okoye and fires Okoye's text. So Okoye says that we can target somebody else. And so now they're going to get +1 thwart at 1 attack. So now T'Challa can thwart for 3. So T'Challa will thwart for 3. Taking 1 consequential. That will clear manipulated music. When manipulated music is cleared, discard music from play. And then we can do Komoyo beads, which will put 1 here. So we still have a lot of people attacking us, but we can defeat 1 of them at a minimum. So we'll pitch 1, 2 for Clawed Strike. Get it? Claws. Never mind. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and resolve the special ability. So I think we'll just knock out the weapons runner. It removes 1 threat from here. I guess we should get rid of the armored guard because it just is bigger. So we'll defeat the armored guard. Then we can resolve the special ability, so we'll Komoyo beads here. We could go for the confuse. It actually might be fine to go for the confuse and discard the Komoyo beads. Because when you use the special here, you can also discard it. I think I took a threat off of here. If I didn't, I need to. But we could go for the confuse so we could hop down next turn. Do we want to hop down next turn? We'll have 2 encounter cards. We might not. Nah, we'll keep it around because if we don't have a special, T'Challa feels really silly. So we'll just pass. We deck out drawing Manifold. So we get encounter card waiting and we draw 4 more cards. It's 5:30. I cannot go later than 5:50 at worst. Eat dinner really quickly, get on the metro. I think the thing starts at 7 tonight. Oh yeah, Koye is at full health, which is not bad. All right. We just need to stabilize. We need to build a board. Multiple Dora Milaje would be really good. We have 2 more in our deck. So we have Io and we have Anika. Clawed Strike, more damage. On the Prowl, that's some threat. We have Invisibility Gear, don't care. Vibranium Suit is a pretty good healing card that does ping damage. It also can give us toughness, which is good. It's not just Netrunners. No, that's tomorrow. This is a Flesh and Blood pre-release, which like the new set looks fun. I do generally pre-releases because they're interesting. This goes to 3 claw attacks for 1 and 2 cards. So claw can do worst is 7 damage. On average, it's like 5 damage. I don't think we can block here. Oh, we probably should block. We block, we could do Kamoyo beads, but we probably should block here because we're going to take damage from the Armored Guard and Weapons Runner. And those are worse to block. So I think we might block here. So we're going to block for 2. So it's attacking for 1. Boost, put the Weapons Runner into play, engage with you. Okay. It doesn't have Surge, but it's going to attack us still. And then Speed Demon. Discard the lowest cost support you control. Ooh. I guess we lose the raft. So that, unfortunately, was for 1 damage. We blocked it. And after Black Panther exhausts, or does a basic activation more accurately, we can, sorry, I did this wrong. We can do one of our Kamoyo beads, one of our upgrades. Now, at this point, now all the minions engage with us activate. So Weapons Runner attacks for 1, Weapons Runner attacks for 1, Armored Guard attacks for 1. So we're just going to go ahead and take 3. We're at 3 health. 2 encounter cards. I don't know much about what's happening on screen, but things appear to be getting out of hand. It's like mixed. Now it's worse. It's Boomerang, everyone's favorite. 5 health. This character shows up on a lot of art, which I'm always surprised. After Boomerang attacks you, deal 1 damage to each ally you control. That's not good. Then we have Advance. Oh, that's really bad. So we could have Kamoyo beads, but the villain schemes now. So Claw's scheming for 2 and a card. 2 boost icons, so this hits 6, so this advances. We go to our final scheme, Secret Rendezvous. When revealed, discard cards from the counter deck until a minion is discarded. Oh my god, it's bad. We need a Spider Bites. Put that minion to play. It's Shocker. Yeah, we're cooked, y'all. This is Shocker. I think Shocker showed up on... Is this the 3rd version of Shocker we've seen? I like Shocker a lot as a character. No, 2nd Shocker. Advanced to stage 2B, Shocker comes in with 5 health. After Shocker's attack stun the attacking character, that's obviously very quite bad. The backside of Secret Rendezvous, if this is empty, if this completes, we lose. That's all it says. It has threshold of 8. Was about to buy myself Blitz decks as a way of exploring some fab, but I happened to stumble upon one of your Blitz rants in an old stream. It's like very cheap. It's not a bad thing to go. Actually, Roshni, if you want to go to a game store, you can ask them for a learn to play Ira deck, which is a free Blitz deck. I'll be honest, the Ira deck is the most boring Flesh and Blood is. It's just damage, go again. You don't have like auras and triggers and like interesting equipment. So if I played Ira, I would think Flesh and Blood's pretty boring, but there are free Blitz decks. Most stores have free learn to play Blitz decks. But it's, yeah, Blitz is fine. It's not the worst. It's just like not my favorite way to play. Hey JS, yeah, things are bad. I was really cocky. We absolutely blew through Black Widow, and then this is our start. How you doing? Thank you so much about telling us about how Magneto works. Okay, so Claw's going to scheme for 2. We lost our raft, which we would have liked. So at least we have some stuff to do here. Problem is with a 5-card hand size. Now, unfortunately, the Kamoyo beads is kind of useless unless we want to get further confused because there's no threat on the table. So the issue is with a 5 hand size and no resource generators in the precon, you can't play more than 1 2-cost card. So either we play 1 2-cost card and a 1-cost card, which Invisibility Gear is actually not bad. Well, it's not good, but it's also not bad. It just says they scheme instead. And in theory, Shocker schemes for 1. That's fine. And then we can play an On the Prowl or we can play a Vibranium Suit. We have some problems. Hey, Joe. I was pretty okay in demoing how the attack defense system works. Yeah, it's good for rules, like to understand what a chain link is and reactions, and then you can like flick flack from your arsenal. But it's like not good for making the game look interesting. The game just seems like a numbers game because there's very few on hits in the deck, and on hits is where the game gets interesting. Like I thought Flesh and Blood was kind of sleepy until I played the chain blitz deck, and like obviously parts of that deck are banned because it's cracked, but that's like, wait, this is really cool. I have to worry about my discard pile, my shadow debt, and I get go again, and then it's like really, really interesting. Ira is just the sleepy hero. So Manifold, we can play Manifold. That actually costs 2 because we can search our deck for a side scheme. I wonder if one of the side schemes is actually worth playing. Hold on, one of the side schemes is actually really good. Maybe not really good, but maybe good. Because if we play 2 for Manifold, we can play On the Prowl. There's a chance we can actually take Shocker. Wait a second. There's a chance this will work out. So Manifold says after enters play, choose. Oh no, but then we play the card so we don't have a resource. So if we play Manifold for 3, we can't play On the Prowl. Fuck, this deck needs a resource generator. Still, let's talk it through. What is the card that Redemption works? Show of Empathy. So we can grab Show of Empathy from our deck. When threat is removed from the scheme, place the threat on a non-elite minion. If the minion has threat on it equal or greater than its remaining hit points, we get that minion in our control. So what we can do is we can thwart for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put 5 threat on Shocker, have Shocker. That means we also have Manifold, which is useful. And then we hold on to a card. I think we can do that. Yeah, that seems fine. Let's try it. So otherwise we can just like blow up Boomerang or Shocker with a Cloud Strike. The problem is like the Camellia Beads is really, really bad here because it doesn't do anything because there's no threat on the table. And Cloud Strike says after dealing 4 damage, resolve a special on your Black Panther support and or upgrades, and we obviously don't have that. So we'll try this. We'll play Manifold. So we'll pitch 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure what we want to hold in our hand. I think it's probably Cloud Strike. So Manifold. This is a new card. First time we played it. Only 2 health, so we'll probably do something and then chump block. Search your deck for player side scheme. Deck and discard. Okay, that's generous. I mean, you can showcase every different class special stuff in a demo deck, but Ira gives a good scaffold to build interesting mechanics, even for another ninja. Yeah, but like, I'd rather play an ninja. I think I'd rather play Katsu as a blitz deck because it gives you more agency and it seems more creative and it's more of a toolbox. I totally agree. It's like really good for teaching the core fundamentals, but Roshni plays card games, so I don't think it's going to be a struggle to be like, okay, this is a card game. This is how it works. I just want to warn that, like, it's a free deck. It's sick, but also the game is more interesting than that. You just have to understand that's like the teaching deck. Can you afford to take AoE from Boomerang, or is Shocker too important to leave on board? Yeah, you're right. Boomerang's pretty bad, but we'll see if we can defeat it. I'm not 100% sure. I think Boomerang is actually a problem. I forgot the head text. That's a good shout out. So Boomerang says after Boomerang attacks, you deal 1 damage to each ally you control. So we need to do at least 5 to that. All right. We need to do at least 5 to that. If we do a bit of damage, it technically helps a bit. T'Challa is also gonna die, which is not great. This is tricky. The thing is, this does 2 attack, but if Shocker attacks us, it's not that bad, right? It's just 2 attack. Yeah, it's after Shocker is attacked. So say that we do 2 from here. Do 3 from here, 2 with Okoye, that's 5. Then we take Shocker. Shocker attacks 2 into Boomerang. T'Challa only does 2. So we need to do T'Challa because that's 2 plus 1, that's 3. So we do 3 into this. Then we do 2 with Manifold. Then we have Shocker. Okoye plus Shocker does 5. That's not enough. So T'Challa does 4. Actually, T'Challa does 4 because T'Challa we can give +1 stats. So we give T'Challa +1. So T'Challa is 1, 2, 3, fires Camellia Beads. That takes 4 off of this. That drops that down to 2. Manifold finishes it. So then we can take control of somebody. So we can take control of any of the minions that we want. Oh, wait, we only have so many ally slots. So I guess T'Challa's leaving. That's fine. And if that's the case, yeah, it's really bad to be attacked by Boomerang with all these allies. So we probably have to grab Boomerang. So then we can chump block with Manifold. Okay, I think we just have to do this in the best order we can. So in theory, we want to use Dora Milaje on Okoye after, but I think Okoye activating first isn't that good. But we have to plan it. So again, T'Challa is 4, Manifold is 6. That clears this. which we don't need to clear. We just need to do 5 to it. So this is 1, 2, Okoye is 3, because of Dora, 4 because of Kimoyo, 6 because of Sho. Then we take this. So Okoye can go first here. So Okoye should probably just get rid of a weapons runner. I wish we had a raft. So Okoye is going to attack for 2. Doesn't have relevant text. We'll just delete the weapons runner. I'm running out of spin down dice. So we're dealing with the board. Then we'll use Dora Milaje, which heals and fires a character's ability. So we'll do Okoye's ability, which says we can target a Wakanda to get +1 thwart and attack. Wakanda hero ally. So T'Challa is now thwarting for 3. So thwart for 3 off of this. When you thwart off of this, you can put the threat on someone else. So we'll do it onto Boomerang. And then T'Challa says, after T'Challa uses basic power, do the ability on Kimoyo bead. So we'll do 1 more here, which puts 1 here. T'Challa is defeated to consequential. Then Manifold will thwart for 1, taking 1, clearing this, which puts 6 on Boomerang. And so if I'm not mistaken, this goes through the victory display and we get a redeemed Boomerang. So Boomerang is now on our team. So redemption, you just attach to a character. The minion has a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its scheme. It takes 1 consequential. So unfortunately, we're only attacking for 1 here. That's enough to take out a weapons runner. So we're going to use Boomerang, who's now our friend, who will take 1 consequential, defeating a weapons runner. That also helps with the board. That was a really good manifold. We'll pass hold on to a Clawed Strike, which we'll deal with Shocker next turn, hopefully. 2. Okay. 3, Queen Ramonda, that's healing. 4 is a sting operation. We probably will use Kimoyo beads for a confuse and then jump down. And then 5 is Spider Bites. That is the AoE stun, which is really good. This goes to 1. So we're going to be attacked for Scorpion for 2, Armored Guard for 1. So we have to block at least one of those. We also have to block this. So Claw's attacking for 1 and 2 cards. We'll block with Manifold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of damage. Manifold is defeated. I have no real idea there was a Marvel or Captain Boomerang. Yeah, this is not Captain Boomerang. This is just Boomerang. And Boomerang shows up on a whole bunch of art, so I'm not sure if that means Boomerang is important. Guard will attack for 1, we'll take it. And then Shocker will attack for 2. We obviously are not allowed to take that legally because it will defeat us and game theory and all that. So I think we'll block with Okoye because we can still use Okoye's stats. Oh no, we probably block with Boomerang. Yeah, we'll block with Boomerang. So Boomerang, it's Sinister Syndicate on Sinister Syndicate violence. You hate to see it. So Boomerang is stunned. Or not stunned, exhausted. 1 card, the Scream. When revealed, stun each character you control. Fuck off. That's so bad. Deal 1 damage to each of those characters already stunned. There's 2 of these in the deck. That is so bad on this turn. At least we'll confuse and pop down for a minute, but we just lost so much value. All right, so we have no reason to do anything with Okoye besides attack. So we will attack. The stun goes off. Nothing happens. We can still do Dora Milaje, but that also doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So what are we doing with our hand? Shocker schemes for 1, which is totally fine. So we need to flip down. Cool thing is we also can play Sting Operation. Whoa, wait. Sting Operation is so good. After not only the minion schemes, discard that Sting Operation, discard that minion. Discarding Shocker is so much better than anything else we can do. Wait, that's hype. Wasn't Okoye stunned already? No, Okoye wasn't stunned. Okoye was just regular, ready. So just took the stun. So we definitely want to play that because it's hype. And then I think we just play Queen Ramonda and flip down. That means, though, we have to do our confuse, I think, which means we have to thwart, which is a waste. So we can attack, but that's also a waste. F, that stun is really bad. I don't know how we were planning to fire the Kimoyo beads. We might have considered blocking. It might have been okay to block when Shocker attacked. In hindsight, it might have been okay to block when Shocker attacked so that we can fire the Kimoyo beads to get the confuse. That doesn't change anything, actually. We could go for the triple stun, actually, but I do think we want to just get rid of Shocker by putting Shocker in jail. So we'll pitch 2 for Sting Operation. We'll pitch 1 for Queen Ramonda. This is an alter ego? No, not that one. Definitely not that one. Queen Ramonda comes into play. Exhaust Queen Ramonda to heal 4 because that's a recovery. That's really good. So then Boomerang can't do anything. We will thwart, which clears this. And we'll fire Kimoyo beads. It's a shame we lose this. But it says remove 1 threat from a scheme. You may discard this to confuse an enemy. We'll confuse Claw. We'll flip down. And then we'll exhaust Queen Ramonda to heal 4. Dora Milaje, there's no point of doing it. Doesn't do anything. Resolve the special ability in Dora Milaje. That gives a +1/+1, but all our characters are exhausted. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty good. Heart of the Panther is our team up card for T'Challa, but unfortunately T'Challa is obviously not here with us anymore. This goes to 1. Klaw's confused. Armor Guard schemes for 1. Shocker schemes for 1. This is such a cool interaction. Sting Operation says, after a non-elite minion schemes, discard this, discard the minion. So we figured out how to deal with Shocker. That actually helped a heck of a lot. Our 1 encounter card is the Scream. No. Stun each character you control. So we can only stun Okoye. Deal 1 damage to each of those characters that are already stunned. So Boomerang is hit. We're hit for 1. Very funny. The deck only has like 2 cards left over, so we're going to get through that really quickly. It's 546. It's a shame. I don't think we're going to be able to finish this. So down here, we can go grab one of our stuff. We'll definitely Queen Ramonda to recover 4. We don't have another Dora Milaje card here, which is a bit of a bummer. Threat is not an issue. Armored Guard I don't care about. Panther Claws can deal with the Armored Guard, but actually I think here we're recovering. We're actually kind of in a good spot. We'll chump block with Boomerang, which makes sense. He's stunned. So we'll always like... No, we actually might thwart. So we'll use Shuri's ability. Streamer says his heart out was 60 minutes. I go, I know, but now we're coming back. So we can search our deck for an upgrade. I just want to make sure we have an upgrade. This might have been a mistake. Actually, there's no Black Panther upgrades. You can just go get a tech card, but that's a title. So actually, no, we shouldn't have done this. We should have checked our deck. We can grab a sonic rifle, but I don't think we will do this. Yeah, I don't think we will do this. Do we have anything in our hand? We do. So we're not going to use Shuri. I should have checked. It's only your deck, not your discard pile. That's fine. I don't think we have to recover again. We'll flip up. So what are we going to play? We're definitely going to play. Let's pitch 1, 2 for Panther Claws. This is an upgrade. So this says now when we thwart for 2, which we will, clearing this, we can do the Panther Claws, which is deal 2 damage to an enemy. So we'll just hit the toughness. We could discard this to do 5 damage and piercing, but I'm not that scared of the Armored Guard. Okoye will stun. Boomerang, stun. And then we'll just play... These are all pretty bad. If we play On the Prowl, it does 2 damage. I guess if that's the case, we won't thwart. We'll attack to get rid of the stun. And then we'll play On the Prowl, which would have cleared this threat anyways. And then On the Prowl says we can do 2 damage, so we'll do it to Armored Guard. All right, we'll just play one more turn to see if it gets out of hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bad hand, very bad hand. Not anything we can do with the resources. Precon deck. This goes to 1. And Claw attacks now for 1 and 2 cards. We bottom out. So in theory, we should have a perfect information what these cards are. We get an acceleration icon. I think it's responsible here to block with Boomerang. 2 thwart's not that good. So we'll block with Boomerang. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boomerang's defeated. So Boomerang goes to the discard pile, misses the cycle, which is good. Redemption goes to the victory display. So we can't do that again, I don't think. Armor Guard attacks us for 1. We'll take it. Our single encounter card is Exhaustion. Hate this card so much if you're not playing specifically defense. So exhaust your identity surge. And exhausting your identity means we lose our upgrade. We have Crime Pays. So not good. We got this once before. 3 threat, amplify. It says discard cards from the top of the deck until a criminal minion is put into play. That guy's back. Out of curiosity, do you know what brand your spin down D6s are? I'm going to UKG tomorrow. I might look for them. Yeah, I don't know if you'll find them because it's American. The brand is Burger Tokens. They have these XL spin downs. They're not the heaviest ones, I think, but they're this XL, so they're good for streamers. Shout out to Burger Tokens. They actually were free. If you are making content, they say on their page, like, just email us and we'll send you some free dice because we want your stream to look better. And it's obviously the free advertising I'm giving right now. They didn't say to advertise, but yeah, those are from Burger Tokens. They are new as of this year. Okay, 5 health. I think we have to call it there. This is gonna be a bit tricky. If we had a sting operation, we could flip down for Shocker. We can do threat 2 off of crime pays. We don't have another ally, so this is actually not going to be a good turn because we can't do anything cool with Dora Milaje Okoye because this needs another Wakanda hero or ally and we're exhausted. I still think we're in a good spot, that's for sure. So Okoye will just work on this slowly, but this hand stinks. There's not much we can do with it. Yeah, it's actually a really bad hand. It's like almost straight up unplayable. But otherwise, this deck does look really cool. I'm definitely going to come back and revisit it. Unfortunately, we are going to have to call a stream here, which is super anticlimactic. Biggest apologies for this. This was not going as well as the other one went, which did probably take us about half an hour. This one was a bit slower. And of course, we're an expert. We have some tougher minions for sure, but we did not set up anywhere near as well. I think I undersold how strong it was to set up with double Dora Milaje. That is very good. I wonder if you want to play some ways to get them more consistently. I'm not sure what you would do, but the yellow cards in this deck are probably the worst part of it. And I think the hero kit is just so good. The yellow cards don't feel like they're synergizing with it. I do think the sting operation was actually kind of good. As long as you get that confuse and jump down, that does work because the confuse on the villain means that the minions don't scheme for more than one. And defeating a 5 health minion for just 1 threat is like kind of sick. But that's it. I gotta go get dinner and figure that stuff out and then go to the what's it called, the pre-release for Flesh and Blood. Thanks so much for hanging out. What's new on this channel? On Monday we should have another video up. We're continuing through. We've actually done pretty well so far on the magic protection expert run of the campaign of Sinister Motives, which has been a lot of fun, so we're going to continue editing that out. I might do a quick video recording playing with the precon of Silk just to see what it plays like. We'll probably play on standard, maybe on expert if it's too easy, and just get some basic gameplay. I worry that if it's going to take us 5 weeks to do a playthrough of Sinister Motives where you see the same deck over and over again, especially because the videos are like an hour plus. I've been getting some really kind feedback about that. Firstly, thanks so much if you've been finding the channel and enjoying the content, but I do think it's probably serves me well to put out like half an hour content, 20-minute content of playing on an easier difficulty potentially, just to show you this game is accessible and explaining the basic decisions so people can maybe get better at this game. Not that I'm the best player in the world, of course, but I think that's something I need to keep in mind. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to let me know. Shout out to Canada for finally getting these sets 6 weeks late. Huzzah. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll be back on Monday with a video, I hope, and then Friday, of course, streams around 2:30. Thank you for streaming. Thanks for dropping by. Roshni, enjoy the pre-release. Thank you, Meteor. Thank you for streaming. Enjoy UKGE if that's this weekend. I don't know if it is. But with that, take care, y'all. We'll see you in the next one. I got a huge mess to clean up. Oh my God. See you in a bit. Bye. I forgot to hit stop. Has this stopped?